Chapter 968. Ha ha ha, Chunyo, I've broken through. Now, it's my turn to trample on you. As the cauldron emitted a dazzling golden light, purple gas rose, and a figure shot out of the cauldron. Then, a handsome young man about 15 or 16 years old appeared. The young man's ferocity was unparalleled. Not only was he fine, but the aura on his body was even more terrifying than before. Who else could it be but the Patriarch of Hell? The golden rope that was originally tied to him had long been broken. The green ox's eyes widened as if it had seen a ghost. "Why aren't you dead?" It clearly remembered that the Patriarch of Hell had been refined a long time ago. Why was he not dead but had broken out of the cauldron instead? Ha ha ha! The Patriarch of Hell was extremely pleased with himself. "Stupid ox, you wanted to refine me into a supreme treasure pill. However, you never expected that you would help me break through in one go." The green ox was stunned at first. Then, it hurriedly opened the lid of the cauldron and looked inside with its eyes wide open. In the end, it realized that it was empty. Not only were the dozens of supreme medicines that it had thrown in completely gone, even the medicinal liquid that it had painstakingly brewed for hundreds of years was gone. Not even the dregs were left. My supreme medicine! The green ox sat on the ground and howled in pain. "That's what I've been storing for over 1,000 years. It's gone just like that. Liar, you liar." As it howled, it wiped its snot with its hooves. "No wonder Master once told me that the outside world is too terrifying." Previously, it had boasted that it was extremely smart. Ever since the Patriarch stepped into the Jade Emperor Temple, it had secretly used its hooves to trick him. It was even quite proud of itself. However, it did not expect that it would not be able to defeat the Patriarch in the end. The Patriarch of Hell was caught off guard by its reaction. Then, he rubbed his hands and sneered. "I haven't even ravaged you yet, and you're already crying. Just you wait, you'll be crying." As soon as he finished speaking, the Patriarch's figure flashed, and like a meteor streaking across the pitch-black night sky, he erupted with terrifying pressure. Then, he violently suppressed the green ox. Not good. The azure ox was instantly jolted awake, and it was about to flee in fear. However, it was too late. The Patriarch of Hell arrived in an instant, and he smashed his fist heavily onto its horns. Moo! With a mournful cry, a purple horn that looked like a machete fell to the ground. "Hey, old ancestor Yellow Spring, it's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding." The green ox, who had lost a horn, revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. "Misunderstanding, right?" The Patriarch of Yellow Spring rubbed his hands and smiled. Without saying a word, he punched again and directly broke the other horn of the Patriarch of Yellow Spring. "Putting the Patriarch in the furnace to refine pills? Do you really think I'm the Monkey King? It's a pity you're not old Lord Taishang." Moo, 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 rumble. Thunderous explosions resounded throughout the entire stone chamber, followed by endless rumbling sounds. From time to time, it would be accompanied by incomparably mournful cries of cows. Almost at that moment, Yi Chen and the rest, who were in the main hall, heard the commotion. They could not help but look in the direction of the stone chamber. "What's that sound?" Yang Tian looked like he was facing a great enemy. Luo Shuiao's expression changed slightly, and then she said in an extremely strange manner, "It sounds like a cow's moo, and it sounds like a scream. The cow that ambushed us earlier?" Yang Tian immediately became nervous. A scream? Could this damn cow be luring us over on purpose? No. Yi Chen spread his divine consciousness and had a strange expression on his face after understanding the situation in the stone chamber. Then, he led everyone toward the stone chamber. The closer they got, the louder the noises and screams inside. When everyone approached the stone chamber, they were stunned by the scene before them. There was a green ox lying on the ground. It was about the height of 3 people. The green ox had a muscular body, and it was extremely majestic. Its fur was glossy and shiny, as if it had been polished by a comedian. Yang Tian took a look and swallowed his saliva. It turned out that it was this ox that ambushed him earlier. However, he did not dare to have any thoughts of revenge because he was sure that he was no match for this ox. However, the green ox was in an extremely miserable state at that moment. Not only was its horns broken by the Patriarch of Hell, but its face was also bruised. Blood was flowing out of its nose, and its front teeth were broken. The Patriarch of Hell noticed Yi Chen too. He could not help but be surprised. "Fellow Yi, when did you come back?" "I just came back." Yi Chen smiled lightly. Subsequently, he sensed the change in his aura and could not help but say, "Congratulations on stepping into intermediate stage Golden Core." The Patriarch of Hell's face was filled with pride. To him, Yi Chen's cultivation base was only at beginner stage Golden Core before he went to Shang Santian. Now that he had stepped into intermediate stage Golden Core, he had complete confidence to show off to Yi Chen. However, just when he was about to speak, his expression changed drastically. He looked at Yi Chen in disbelief. Why, he was shocked to discover. Yi Chen had stepped into nascent soul. "That's right." Yi Chen nodded lightly. Subsequently, he looked at the green ox on the ground and said with a forced smile, "This is?" With his eyes, he could naturally tell at a glance that the green ox before him had the cultivation base of a quasi-saint. While the two of them were talking, the green ox on the ground noticed Yi Chen as well. It even wanted to die now. The green ox shrunk its body immediately and moved to a corner quietly, as if it did not dare to let Yi Chen recognize it. It had already recognized that Yi Chen was the saint who had severed one of its hooves with a swing of his sword earlier. What terrified it the most was that the Patriarch of Hell knew Yi Chen. The Patriarch of Hell told him what happened immediately. Yi Chen did not know whether to laugh or cry after hearing that. "What do you plan to do with it?" The moment that was said, the green ox immediately became nervous. "Of course, I'll kill it on the spot." The Patriarch of Hell chuckled, causing it to almost faint on the spot. Before it could speak, Yang Tian hurriedly took a step forward and grinned. "Patriarch, can you give me its remaining 3 hooves after killing it?" As he spoke, he took out the hoof that he had picked up earlier. As he touched it, he said, "Look, what a good quality hoof this is. It's all tendon meat without any fat at all. It's perfect for stewing hoof hot pot. Also, look at its bullwhip. It can be said to be extremely talented. Coincidentally, a rich merchant friend of mine can't do that, so he asked me to help him find a good aphrodisiac." Yang Tian's eyes shone with a green light as he circled the green ox and looked at it again, and its hide can be made into many belts. As for the offal, the more the green ox listened, the more shocked it became. In the end, it fainted. Chapter 969. "Stupid cow, are you pretending to be dead?" The Patriarch of Hell smiled sinisterly. "Do you believe that I'll stew an entire cow while the cauldron is heating up?" As soon as he finished speaking, the green ox, who had fainted, jumped up like a carp and stood up on its hind legs like a human. Plop! Under everyone's gaze, it knelt heavily in front of the Patriarch like a human and said with tears in its eyes, "Father, I'm actually your long-lost son." Everyone was speechless. Yang Tian was so shocked that he could not close his mouth. "Damn it! This damn cow is really shameless." The green ox walked over on its knees and hugged the Patriarch's thigh tightly. It wiped its snot and tears on him. As the saying goes, even a vicious tiger doesn't eat its cubs. "Are you really willing to eat me?" The Patriarch took the bag of Marlboro that still had a few sticks left, then took one out and put it in his mouth. Boom! The green ox opened its mouth and spat out a line of fire. It personally lit the cigarette for the Patriarch before nodding and bowing as it massaged the Patriarch's back and legs. Everyone's worldview was destroyed by it. "At least you know what's good for you." After a cigarette, the Patriarch nodded in satisfaction. "By the way, what's your name again?" The green ox seemed to be in a dilemma. When it saw the patriarch's expression turn grim, it rubbed its hands and said shyly, "Master, my name is Nyo Nyo." Luo Shuiyao was the first to burst out laughing. Ha ha ha! Yang Tian did not hide his laughter at all. He laughed so hard that he leaned back and forth. "Nyo Nyo, oh my God, I'm laughing so hard that my eyes hurt." Yi Chen could not help but laugh too. The green ox seemed to have guessed everyone's reaction. It gritted its teeth. "Aren't these names given to me by my old master?" As soon as that was said, Yi Chen could not help but have a gleam flash through his eyes. "Who was your previous master?" Since the green ox was a quasi-saint, only a saint was qualified to be its master. "He's dead." The green ox squeezed out a few drops of tears and said, "Back then, Master went to heaven to fight immortals and never came back." At this moment, Yang Tian rushed in front of it with a bamboo tube in his hand. He swayed it along with the movements of its eyes. "Brat, what are you doing?" the green ox said angrily. "What kind of person was this? Can't you see that I'm reminiscing about my old master?" "What a disappointment," Yang Tian said seriously. "I heard that ordinary people can see ghosts after applying cow tears, so I want to take some. Don't waste it." The green ox was speechless. Fighting immortals in the sky? Even Patriarch Yellow Spring was shocked. He pulled the man over and said, "Are you saying that there are immortals on Earth?" "Maybe, probably," the green ox said with some uncertainty. "Anyway, Old Master's friends called those immortals exalted immortals, so they should be immortals." As it narrated, Yi Chen and the Patriarch of Hell roughly understood what happened. A group of people from foreign lands had once descended on Earth. These people were extremely powerful and tried to force the cultivators on Earth to submit. However, there was no lack of powerful cultivators on Earth. Among them was the Green Ox's master. He formed the Immortal Extermination Alliance and killed his way into the sky alone. Since then, the Green Ox's master had never returned. Not long after, the group of people who tried to attack Earth disappeared one after another. Yi Chen and the Patriarch of Hell looked at each other. They guessed that the exalted immortals that the Green Ox mentioned must be powerhouses from foreign lands. Those who could call themselves exalted immortals must be cultivators. In other words, cultivators from foreign lands had descended on Earth before. It was no wonder that many saints chose to leave this world during the preaching period. After Old Master left and never returned, I was worried that Old Master's enemies would find me, so I stayed in the temple and slept. The Green Ox sighed faintly. "I slept for more than 100 years. Every time I woke up from hunger, I would go out to look for food. When I was full, I would come back to sleep. Does that mean that your cultivation base was also obtained by sleeping?" Luo Shuiyao said with a strange expression. "That's right, I became a quasi-saint by sleeping." The Green Ox nodded repeatedly. "Master is right. The outside world is too dangerous. Every time I wake up and go out, I'll see the messy scene of a great battle. My supreme medicines are all dug out from corpses." Yi Chen secretly nodded. The Green Ox's words verified his guesses. After the preaching period, the saints of the 9 families left this world. However, there were still many descendants who were unwilling to leave their homeland. Without the suppression of the 9 saints, these people naturally broke out into wars to fight for resources. As a result, there were fewer and fewer saints. It was not until the Great Calamity 500 years ago that they completely disappeared. As for the Green Ox, it avoided all these dangers because it slept, becoming a quasi-saint who had slept from ancient times until now. It became a quasi-saint by sleeping. The corners of Luo Tianya's lips twitched a few times when he heard the Green Ox's pretentious words. He had the urge to kill. "Your old master is probably dead a long time ago." The Patriarch of Hell waved his hand in annoyance. "I think you're quite talented. Coincidentally, I need a lackey to serve tea by my side. You can follow us from now on." Everyone thought it would hesitate. Who would have thought that it would walk to Yi Chen's side obediently? It nodded and bowed. Greetings, master. It was a smart person. It knew that Yi Chen had the highest cultivation base among all of them, and everyone treated him as their leader. Therefore, it addressed Yi Chen as Old Master without thinking. Subsequently, it turned around to look at the Patriarch of Hell and said with a smile, "Greetings, Second Master." When he saw that, Yang Tian walked over and patted its shoulder. He grinned happily. "From now on, I'm your third master." The smile on the green ox's face suddenly disappeared. It looked at him in disdain. "Little brat, get lost and play in the mud." Yang Tian was speechless. At that moment, Meng Meng, who was in Yi Chen's embrace, could not hold it in any more. She kept pulling her little hands. "Daddy, I want to ride you." The green ox immediately reattached its broken horns and hooves. Then, it turned into an ordinary green ox with a shake of its body. Yi Chen then placed her on the green ox's back. He was not afraid that the green ox would have any ulterior motives. Even if it did, he could save her first. This girl's spiritual energy is actually so terrifying. On the other hand, the green ox's mind raced. She's simply a humanoid supreme treasure pill. If I eat her, I might be able to step into the saint stage. Just as it was immersed in its thoughts, it saw Yang Tian staring at it with widened eyes. The green ox said angrily, "Brat, what are you looking at? I want to see when you're going to attack my niece. This way, I'll have another chance to eat an entire ox feast." Yang Tian gulped as he spoke. "Ox penis, ox tendon, ox tripe. TSK, just thinking about it is unbearable." The green ox shuddered. It had completely given up on that thought. Chapter 970. October 8, 2018. Mad Southern Yi, who had disappeared for almost a year, had returned. He had killed the elites of the 5 consortiums at the peak of Mount Tai, and even killed the young master of the Black Mountain Ridge with a single palm strike. He had used bloody means to announce his return. When this news spread from the peak of Mount Tai, it was like endless thunder, sweeping through the entire country and even the world with an incomparably violent might. What? Mad Southern Yi isn't dead? Countless people's first reaction was disbelief. Wasn't it rumored that he killed his way into the legendary Holy Land and eventually died? That's right, he's back. An insider sucked in a breath of cold air and said in a trembling voice, "Moreover, he seems to have become even stronger. Killing level 9 mutants is like killing chickens." Once these words were said, another storm was stirred up. What was a level 9 mutant? Since ancient times, 9 was respected. A level 9 mutant was the strongest existence among mutants. Their combat strength was comparable to the supreme giants of the Kunlun ruins. If such combat strength was placed on Earth before the spiritual energy recovery, it would be enough to sweep through the entire world and become the number 1 person. However, Mad Southern Yi actually killed level 9 mutants like killing chickens? I really can't believe it. The upper echelons of many consortiums and secret forces were sighing. Clearly, they could not accept this fact. Before this, not long after the spiritual energy recovery, the world's power system had experienced a freakish increase. Countless people thought that Mad Southern Yi was nothing special. However, reality had given them a tight slap. The facts had proven it. Mad Southern Yi was still the same Mad Southern Yi. Many people who were originally overjoyed when they heard about Yi Chen's death immediately looked like they had lost their parents. It's true that good people don't live long, but scourges live for thousands of years. However, most people in China were excited for Yi Chen's return. On behalf of the Chinese cultivation world, we welcome the return of the Chinese number 1, Mad Southern Yi, and continue his legend. In just 15 minutes, all the Martial Dao forums in China were in an uproar. Red posts were pinned at the top. To the Chinese cultivation world, Mad Southern Yi was the legend of Mad Southern Yi. Mad Southern Yi was a legend in their hearts. However, when everyone spread the news that Mad Southern Yi was dead, no one could understand the despair in their hearts. After that, the spiritual energy recovery and the beast horde outbreak. countless people in the cultivation world died in order to fight against the beast horde. It could be said that the Hua nation's cultivation world was filled with an aura of death. Now that Yi Chen had returned, it was equivalent to them seeing hope. They firmly believed that Yi Chen would be able to continue his undefeated legend. Within 2 hours of the news being spread, countless people who were fighting the beast horde at the front line realized that the demon kings gave the order to retreat after hearing Mad Southern Ye's name. All of a sudden, out of the 4 cardinal directions, there were 3 where the beast hordes had retreated, no longer fighting against the humans. Just the 3 words, Mad Southern Yi. It was enough to cause millions of strange beasts to retreat. Only the beast tied in the east did not retreat. Just as everyone was puzzled, a piece of news came from the Black Mountain Ridge in the eastern mountains. Mad Southern Yi killed the young master of our Black Mountain Ridge. You must give us an explanation. Otherwise, we won't let this go. As the news spread, countless people were shocked. Clearly, they did not expect Black Mountain Ridge to be the first to oppose Yi Chen. Black Mountain Ridge has spoken. Mad Southern Yi is in a difficult position now. Don't forget that there are hundreds of thousands of beasts in the eastern mountains. No matter how powerful Mad Southern Yi is, it's impossible for him to fight against hundreds of thousands of beasts, right? That's right. Moreover, I heard that the master of Black Mountain Ridge is the old demon of Black Mountain. He's an almighty who has existed since ancient times. Many people began to gloat and discuss. At that moment, the 5 consortiums that had been silent finally spoke up. The upper echelons of Fushi Taiji were the first to speak. Mad Southern Yi killed more than 10 people from Fushi Taiji. He must be severely punished. The people of Primordial Gene can't die in vain. The upper echelons of Primordial Gene also stood up and shouted. All of a sudden, the Spiritual Energy Recovery, Pangu Biology, and the other 5 consortiums competed to express their stance. The 5 consortiums officially joined forces to make Yi Chen pay the price. Oh my God, Black Mountain Ridge and the 5 consortiums. Mad Southern Yi has kicked an iron plate this time. Mad Southern Yi seems to only have the Star Group now. Even though the Star Group is the #1 consortium, they don't have the ability to go against the 6 super forces, right? As the 5 consortiums expressed their stance one after another, China was in an uproar again. The voices that supported Yi Chen were instantly heard. Just as Yi Chen was being targeted, the super department established by China's officials, the Dragon King Palace, made a public statement. Mad Southern Yi is no different from a national hero in China. The people he killed deserved to be killed. If anyone dares to attack Mad Southern Yi, the Dragon King Palace will destroy them first. Whoosh! The country was shocked. The Dragon King Palace was the original heavenly palace that had merged with the Dragon Soul after the spiritual energy recovery. It represented China. Now that the Dragon King Palace was supporting Mad Southern Yi in such a high-profile manner, did that not mean that the country was standing behind Mad Southern Yi? Before anyone could react, a demon king from the western mountains shouted to everyone, Mad Southern Yi is a friend of the Rock Tribe. Whoever dares to attack him will be an enemy of our Rock King. The Rock Tribe was a tribe that had mutated from the Falcon Tribe after the spiritual energy recovery on Earth. Rumor had it that the king of the Rock Tribe was a golden-winged rock, and his status was equivalent to that of a demon king. In the northeast forest, a demon king also stood out to express his stance. Mad Southern Yi is also a friend of the 5 immortals in the northeast. There are many demon kings in the northeast. If anyone dares to make an enemy out of him, we will definitely destroy them. After the spiritual energy recovery, a total of 5 demon kings were born in the depths of the northeast forest. The 5 immortals dominated the northeast and commanded the beasts. No one dared to disobey them. Dragon Tiger Mountain is willing to help Mad Southern Yi. An ancient almighty from Dragon Tiger Mountain was filled with killing intent. The ancient almighty from Maoshan suppressed the world and had profound cultivation methods. Mao Shan is willing to help Mad Southern Yi. Wudong Mountain is willing, in an instant, from the demon kings to the ancient almighties of the ancient sects in China. More than 10 ancient existences stood out to support Yi Chen. Yi Chen's reputation was pushed to the peak again. Countless people were shocked. No one had expected the name Mad Southern Yi to have such a terrifying influence in the country. The demon kings all stood on his side. The Almighty said that they were willing to help him. Faced with such a situation, even the Black Mountain Ridge and the 5 consortiums were terrified. They did not dare to continue being stubborn and could only remain silent. In the end, it was the old dragon from the Yangtze River who spoke. Everyone, do you think China is not chaotic enough? Since Mad Southern Yi dared to kill the people of the Black Mountain Ridge, the Black Mountain Ridge naturally has a reason to seek revenge on him. As soon as it spoke, there was no room for doubt. This old dragon was sleeping in the Yangtze River. No one knew how long it had lived, and no one knew how terrifying its combat strength was. At that moment, Yi Chen ordered Star Group to spread the word. Order the Black Mountain Ridge and the masters of the 5 consortiums to come to Tianan within 3 days to accept their punishment. Otherwise, I'll exterminate all of you. None of you will be spared. Chapter 971. Order Black Mountain Ridge and the masters of the 5 consortiums to come to Tianan to accept their punishment within 3 days. Otherwise, I'll kill all of you. Yi Chen asked Star Group to spread the word to the outside world. That was Yi Chen's style of doing things. If people respected him, he would respect them tenfold. It would be fine if they were fine, but if they insisted on jumping out, then don't blame him for being merciless. Moreover, ever since he returned, he had more or less understood the current situation in China. With the recovery of spiritual energy and the awakening of ancient almighties, these old farts relied on the fact that they had lived for many years and took advantage of their seniority to feel superior. It was one thing for the mutated beasts to have demon kings occupying the mountains, but they even organized an army of mutated beasts to attack human cities. They deserved to be killed. The consortiums rose together. Other than the Star Group, the other consortiums were extremely selfish. They only cared about their own development and did not care about righteousness at all when it came to the war between humans and mutated beasts. That was the reason why Yi Chen issued an ultimatum to Black Mountain Ridge and the 5 consortiums. He planned to make an example out of these few people. The outside world was shocked by his arrogant words. Many people were shocked that the 5 consortiums and Black Mountain Ridge had clearly admitted defeat, but Yi Chen did not plan to let them go. On the other hand, the internet was cheering for Yi Chen. Many people had been unhappy with the 5 consortiums and Black Mountain Ridge for a long time. While they were shocked, everyone turned their attention to the 5 consortiums and Black Mountain Ridge, as if they wanted to see how they would react. Mad Southern Yi is too arrogant. In Fushi Taiji, a consortium's upper echelon was furious. More than 10 people from Fushi Taiji died in his hands, and he actually wants us to apologize to him? Who does he think he is? That's right. Another upper echelon's expression was extremely grim. Does this person really think he's the #1 person in China? How dare he threaten us like this? If we don't kill him, we won't be able to quell the anger in our hearts. We'd like to see if he really dares to come and kill us in 3 days. If he dares to come, we'd like to see what the Dragon King Palace has to say. Seconded. This situation seemed to have happened in the other 4 consortiums and the Black Mountain Ridge at the same time. Then, killing intent rose into the sky. Not long after, Fushi Taiji replied to the outside world, Mad Southern Yi, we respect you a little, but you really think you're someone, don't you? 3 days later, my Fushi Taiji will await your arrival. His words caused an uproar in the outside world. Before they could react, the spiritual energy recovery, primordial gene, Pangu biogenetics, Nuwa deity maker, and the other 4 consortiums expressed their stance one after another. 3 days later, we await Mad Southern Ye's arrival. Soon after, an almighty from Black Mountain Ridge shouted online, "As long as Mad Southern Yi dares to come to my Black Mountain Ridge, don't even think about going back." The 6 super forces expressed their stance in unison. They were determined to fight Yi Chen head-on. This caused the commotion in the outside world to reach its peak. As I expected, the 6 super forces don't care about Mad Southern Yi's threat at all. In fact, that's how it should be. This is getting more and more exciting. The former strongest person in China is going up against 6 superpowers. Just thinking about it makes me excited. For a moment, many people were watching a good show. "Mr. Yi, I'm the founder of the Baji sect." A Baji fist master from the Baji sect said with tears in his eyes, "If you don't mind my weak body, I'm willing to fight our way into the 5 consortiums with you in 3 days." The Form Will Fist is willing to advance and retreat with Mr. Yi and open up a new world for the Chinese cultivation world. The founder of the Form Will Fist was extremely sincere. And the Hua family fist, however, more people responded to Yi Chen. Yi Chen shouted for the last time, "I appreciate your kindness, but there's no need for you guys to interfere with them." The 5 consortiums and Black Mountain Ridge were furious. "Mad Southern Yi, you'll pay for your arrogance." At that moment, the old dragon from the Yangtze River spoke again. "Mad Southern Yi, you're courting death by doing this. Listen to me and apologize to Black Mountain Ridge. You might be able to save your life." At the headquarters of Star Group, Yi Chen turned around to look at Yi Wen and the girls after seeing the old dragons shout, "What's the origin of this old dragon?" "Brother, at the beginning of the spiritual energy recovery, the Yangtze River suddenly stopped flowing. This old dragon appeared from the Yangtze River." Yi Wen introduced slowly. Its appearance directly captured tens of millions of believers around the Yangtze River. This dragon often preaches or shows its divinity to heal and save people. By the way, this dragon has a very high status among many demon kings. Many demon kings vaguely respect it. Xiaoya added. "Humph." Yi Chen smirked in disdain. "You're pretending to be righteous and deceiving the world. You're pretending to be a good person. Unfortunately, your butt was crooked from the beginning." Suddenly, he saw the green ox sitting on an extremely wide chair in a daze. Its face was filled with anger. Yi Chen said, "Old ox, do you know where this dragon came from?" The green ox looked at the patriarch resentfully. After coming to the secular world, it finally understood what the patriarch meant when he chanted the incantation last time. He imagined himself sitting on the subway, smoking and muttering to himself, F***ck me Maya met. Then, it was treated as a pervert and called the police. It could not wait to fight the patriarch. However, it did not dare to resist Yi Chen's question. It immediately stuck up its butt and said while nodding and bowing, "Master, may I ask if this old dragon has a name?" "It's called the Sky-Roaming Dragon King," Yi Wen said. "Sky-Roaming Dragon King?" The green ox revealed a pondering expression and said, "Nyo, I remember now. Many years ago, I crossed the Yangtze River with the previous master. At that time, a little dragon wanted to eat us. The previous master took care of that little dragon. The little dragon cried and begged for mercy. The previous master was moved and let it go. However, he ordered it to control the Yangtze River and not to eat humans anymore. Moreover, it had to protect humans for 1,000 years. At this point, it chuckled. That little dragon agreed to all sorts of things. It even acknowledged the previous master as its godfather and me as its godbrother. As soon as it finished speaking, Yi Wen and the rest of the girls' beautiful eyes widened. Yi Wen and the other girls widened their eyes. Clearly, they did not expect it to be the godbrother of a dragon king. Only Yi Chen and the Patriarch of Hell were no exception. After all, the guy before them had lived through many chaotic times and killed a saint. "Master, don't worry," the green ox said again. Nyo, I'm its godbrother. Nyo will summon it now. I guarantee that guy will come and kowtow to you within 3 days. "Sure." Yi Chen nodded. Subsequently, Yu Shasha walked over and whispered into his ear, "Brother Yi, the people from the Dragon King Palace are here." Chapter 972. Star Group's Reception Hall. At that moment there were 3 people in the hall. 2 of them were the former vice-captain of Dragon Soul, Li Ying, and the other was Li Ziwei, whom Yi Chen had saved in Kunlun. An old man in traditional attire was sitting next to the 2 of them. The old man would look outside the door from time to time with a nervous expression. Not long after, footsteps could be heard. The old man stood up immediately. Yi Chen smiled apologetically. "I'm sorry to have kept the 3 of you waiting." "Greetings, Mr. Yi," Li Ying said excitedly. "I'm so happy to see you. Everyone outside said that not bad, you've actually reached the Emperor stage." Yi Chen looked at her in admiration. Clearly, he did not expect the lady to improve so much. "It's all thanks to old Wang's help." Li Ying smiled sweetly and introduced, "Mr. Yi, let me introduce you. This is old Wang from China's United Front Department." Yi Chen was filled with respect. "Greetings, old Wang." "Mr. Yi, you don't have to be so polite with me." Elder Wang waved his hand and said, "I'm only here for 2 things this time. The first is to ask if Mr. Yi has gone to Shang Santian before?" Li Ying could not help but look at Yi Chen as soon as she said that. "That's right." Yi Chen admitted it openly and said, "The so-called Shang Santian's real name is actually Kunlun Ruins. Although they call themselves a world, they're connected to Earth and have an extremely ancient inheritance. Therefore, there are many powerhouses." Old Wang revealed an expression as if he had expected it. He then asked tentatively, "May I know which force in Kunlun Ruins did Mr. Yi join?" To him, Yi Chen's cultivation base had skyrocketed after he returned. He must have obtained great benefits in Kunlun Ruins. The only explanation was that Yi Chen had joined a super sect. However, Yi Chen shook his head lightly. Old Wang was a little disappointed, but he comforted him. "Then who's your master, Mr. Yi? Who's your master?" There are a total of 10 super forces in Kunlun Ruins. Before the spiritual energy recovery on Earth, there was a half-life, dozens of supreme giants, and hundreds of Emperor stage cultivators, Yi Chen said while smiling lightly. After the spiritual energy recovery, there's a saint, dozens of quasi-saints, and thousands of supreme giants. Every single word in the latter half of his sentence caused old Wang, Li Ying, and the others to be utterly shocked. But Yi Chen changed the topic and said with his hands behind his back, "They've been killed. The entire Kunlun Ruins has acknowledged me as their master." As his voice fell, Elder Wang and the other 2 were dumbfounded. What? They thought they had misheard. Yi Chen had already become the master of Kunlun Ruins? That was a terrifying existence that had a sage, dozens of quasi-sages, and thousands of supreme giants. A few seconds later, old Wang looked at him in disbelief. "Have you become the master of Kunlun Ruins? Not bad." Yi Chen smiled lightly with disdain in his eyes. "After I entered the Kunlun Ruins, I trampled the 10 supreme sects consecutively and even suppressed the number 1 person in the Kunlun Ruins. From now on, the Kunlun Ruins will no longer be an enemy of the secular world, but a friend." "Good, good, good." Old Wang said "good" 3 times in a row, and an extreme flush immediately appeared on his face, as expected of the former number 1 person in China. "With you in China, there's no need to fear 10,000 enemies. There's no need to fear 10,000 enemies." His laughter grew louder and louder. It almost caused the air to tremble. He had never been as excited as he was today. He was a soldier, and his duty was to protect the country and the people of the world. However, ever since the spiritual energy recovery, the United Front Department had been under too much pressure and resistance. The consortiums paid lip service to the country, and the ancient almighties who had awakened ignored the country's laws. They did not listen to orders, and the beast hordes attacked human cities crazily. Too many soldiers had died because of this today. he could finally laugh out loud because he, the #1 person in China, had returned. Moreover, he had the entire Kunlun ruins behind him. Mr. Yi, I've finished the first thing. The second thing is to invite you to take over the position of the first palace master of the Dragon King Palace. As he spoke to this point, he ignored his age and bowed to Yi Chen solemnly. At the same time, the higher-ups have unanimously elected you to be the leader of China's 100 generals. You'll be given the title of Mad Southern Heavenly King. More than 30 provinces and 10 military regions in China have contacted each other. They jointly request you to take over the position of the 100 generals and lead 1,000,000 troops. At this point, he was on the verge of tears as he said, Mad Southern Yi, the country is in danger, and the people are suffering. Are you willing to take on this responsibility? Bang, bang, bang. At the same time, Li Ying and Li Ziwei knelt heavily on the ground. Mr. Yi, do you still remember the previous Dragon King of Dragon Soul, Niu Qingshan? Do you still remember Old Chen? They were all loyal people. They dedicated their lives to the country. After they died, they turned into loyal souls to protect the land of China. Mr. Yi, please take over the position of Dragon King Palace Master. Please inherit the position of Mad Southern Heavenly King. Please strengthen our country, Mr. Yi. 2 sonorous and powerful voices exploded in the hall. However, their eyes were extremely determined. It was as if they would kneel until they died if Yi Chen did not agree. Yi Chen glanced at Old Wang and the other two. Their silhouettes echoed in his ears. Suddenly, a hint of sorrow surged in his heart. Phew, he took a deep breath of cold air and suppressed the emotions in his heart. After a long while, a smile appeared at the corner of his lips. The banner of the Han family fills the Yin Mountain. If I don't send Hu back, I'm willing to serve the country with this body. There's no need to enter the Jade Gate Pass. That was a poem by Dai Shuluan, a poet from the Tang dynasty. It also represented his current mood. At that moment, he seemed to have seen Niu Qingshan and Old Chen. He also seemed to have seen countless loyal soldiers at the front line who used their blood to resist the Beast Horde army. Perhaps even he did not know. His breadth of mind had gradually risen from the narrow-minded mentality of only caring about his family to righteousness and courage. Great, great! Ah! Old Wang's laughter shook the sky. Then, he threw 2 items at him. Mad Southern Yi, receive the order. Yi Chen caught it and realized that it was 2 gold medals. One was the Dragon King Palace Master's gold medal, and the other was the Mad Southern Heavenly King's gold medal. These 2 gold medals were magic treasures that could be refined with blood. It seemed that after the spiritual energy recovery, the country had also studied this aspect. Thinking to this point, he could not help but ask, Old Wang, our country also controls some cultivation power now? That's right. Old Wang nodded slightly and said, after the spiritual energy recovery, we discovered many secret realms. Then, we found many cultivation inheritances from these secret realms, and even magic treasures and magic tools. He sighed softly. Unfortunately, we're still a little slow. The good things have been taken by the 5 consortiums, or there are powerhouses guarding them. Chapter 973. Yi Chen asked, what about the other countries? They're much luckier than our country. Old Wang sighed faintly. The Egyptian government discovered high-tech weapons left behind by ancient Egypt in the pyramids, such as laser guns. Ordinary people can kill martial venerables with them. Another example is the Vatican. They can pray to God and obtain the blessing of holy power. Ordinary weapons blessed by holy power can not only hit their targets 100%, but they can also kill people from thousands of meters away. Li Ying said with a solemn expression, I heard that many terrifying existences have appeared in Japan, especially yin-yang masters. They worked with the Japanese government to carve talismans on nuclear bombs. Yi Chen was moved when he heard that. Things like nuclear bombs were high-tech weapons that were extremely powerful. If technology was combined with cultivation, such as the blessing of talismans, the power would be extraordinarily terrifying. You guys don't have to worry. Thinking to this point, he took a deep breath in and said slowly, I also control the cultivation inheritance. I can contribute it to strengthen our country. Really? Old Wang was overjoyed. Of course. Yi Chen said while smiling lightly, the great era is here. From now on, it'll definitely be an era of technology and cultivation. For example, our country's arsenal controls the Tao of talismans. When we manufacture guns, we'll carve talismans on them. Another example is our country's nuclear submarines combined with the Tao of weapon refinement to refine them into giant steel puppets that can walk on their own. When the time comes, they'll definitely be able to break through everything in the West. Another example is to adjust the clothes and shoes of our country's ordinary soldiers, and they can also fly. As he spoke, every word made Old Wang and the other two excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. If China could really combine technology and cultivation like Yi Chen said, who would dare to underestimate China by then? Old Wang, close your eyes and calm down, Yi Chen said. Subsequently, he pointed a finger between his brows and passed on countless cultivation knowledge to him. It included alchemy, weapon refinement, formations, sword Tao, martial arts, spells, martial techniques, divine abilities, and so on. Old Wang could not stop trembling after finally digesting the information. Only then did he know how precious the thing that Yi Chen had passed on to him was. If it was leaked, it could start the Third World War. Elder Wang, this matter involves a lot of things. What I mean is that we should keep a low profile as much as possible. We can't spread it to the outside world, and we can't spread it to the public immediately. Yi Chen reminded, you can look for some people with spiritual roots in the military and teach them. You can also discuss it with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Defense, and so on. For example, we could get the Ministry of Education to secretly establish a cultivation university. The university would be divided into subjects such as alchemy, artifact refinement, array formations, sword Tao, and so on, and secretly train students. Haha. Elder Wang laughed out loud. Of course, but this way, the pockets of the finance department will be empty. It's too expensive. What he said was the truth. For example, adding talismans on top of a nuclear bomb could definitely kill a quasi-sage. However, the amount of resources required was terrifying. Then, he said, what I mean is that this cultivation university will be secretly established by your star group. You'll temporarily be the first principal and arrange for people to nurture them. Yi Chen was slightly stunned. Then, he understood his good intentions and was slightly touched. Elder Wang knew how shocking the things he offered were. If China was given some time, there would definitely be earth-shattering changes. That was why he asked Yi Chen to take over. His goal was to let everyone know that it was Yi Chen's contribution. For example, when it came to letting Yi Chen be the first principal, who would not give him face when Yi Chen nurtured his students in the future. Sure. Yi Chen agreed without even thinking about it. In that case, when he left in the future, his descendants would not have a bad life. After that, the two of them chatted about some details before Elder Wang left with his men in satisfaction. Get Yan Nanfei and the rest to see me. Yi Chen immediately ordered Star Group to inform Yan Nanfei and the rest who were fighting the beast horde at the front line in the eastern mountain range. An hour later, Yan Nanfei, Pang Yuanqing, Han Qinhu, Li Yunxiao, Qin Xiaotian, Yang Yuanqing, and the rest returned by helicopter. Yi Chen looked at them quietly. The 6 of them had stepped into the Emperor realm a long time ago, but even so, their bodies were covered in blood. It was obvious that the front lines were in a dire situation. Among them, Yan Nanfei had lost an arm. It was torn apart by a demon general of the Black Mountain Ridge. Han Qinhu was blinded in one eye. Li Yunxiao's hair was completely white. Yi Chen suddenly bowed to them solemnly. Thank you for your hard work, everyone. In the days when he was not around, it was these people who were not afraid of death, who held up the sky for China and protected hundreds of millions of people. Their merit. He deserved Yi Chen's respect. Thump! The 6 of them knelt on one knee and said in a unified and powerful voice, "We greet the mad southern heavenly king." As members of the military, they were notified when Yi Chen took over the position of the mad southern heavenly king. "I summoned all of you back this time because I want to give you some good fortune. At the same time, I want to build an army for Star Group." Yi Chen said slowly, "I call this army the Divine Dragon Army. When you go back, try your best to find some seedlings from the army. There's no need for too many slots. 3,000 people are enough." After the 6 of them left, Yi Chen said to Yi Wen, "I plan to set up a cultivation university. All the descendants of the loyal members of Star Group can sign up to study." "Old Yi, does that mean my Yang Hao can sign up too?" Yang Tian was excited. Yi Chen smiled lightly. Then, he glanced at Meng Meng, who was playing happily with the panda, and said, "Not only your son, even my Meng Meng wants to go in to study." He had thought about it for a long time. His daughter was over 5 years old, and it was time for her to step onto the path of cultivation. Now that he was building a university, he could enroll her. This university will be jointly managed by the Star Group and the government. Its name will be Star University for now. "Yi Wen, take some time to choose a good school location for me," Yi Chen said confidently. "I'll be the first principal. The Patriarch of Hell will be the dean. Wu Shuang and Tianyao will be the vice principals. As for the teachers of the various subjects, Yi Wen and the rest will be in charge." F***CK, what about me? Yang Tian pondered carefully and realized that he had gotten nothing. "It's not that I want to criticize you, old Yi, but at least let me get an official position. How about a vice principal?" "Vice principal?" The Patriarch of Hell sneered at the side. "With that blockhead of yours, it's embarrassing for us to let you guard the gate." Yang Tian was speechless. The Patriarch looked at Yi Chen again after saying that. "Xiao Yi, I feel like I'm about to break through." After returning from Mount Tai, Yi Chen gave him the purple embryo fruit. After the Patriarch consumed it, his cultivation base kept rising. In the end, he was stuck at perfected golden core. "You're going to break through again?" Yi Chen was a little surprised by the Patriarch's cultivation speed. He then said, "Bear with it. I'll bring you to Japan to undergo the tribulation after I'm done cleaning up the country." That's great, that's great." The Patriarch and Yi Chen looked at each other and could not help but laugh. The last time he went to Japan to undergo the Golden Core tribulation, he had almost destroyed half of Tokyo. This time, he was going to undergo the nascent soul tribulation. Chapter 974. In the next 3 days, the outside world had been arguing about whether Yi Chen dared to go to the 5 consortiums and the Black Mountain Ridge. On the other hand, Yi Chen had been staying in Tianan. He was in charge of nurturing the cultivation seedlings that Yan Nanfei and the rest had found from the army. At the same time, he guided Yi Wen and the rest in their cultivation. He ordered Yi Wen to take out all the cultivation resources in the Star Group and prepare 20 cauldrons to brew the medicine. When the medicine in the 20 cauldrons was almost done, he ordered Yan Nanfei and the rest, as well as Yi Wen, Yang Tian, and the rest to enter the cauldrons to absorb the essence of the medicine. It was not until the afternoon of the 3rd day that the people in the 20 cauldrons finally moved. A powerful aura was the first to break the silence. It was Qin Xiaotian who had broken through. He was originally Old Chen's personal bodyguard. After Old Chen died, he became extremely silent. He fought at the front line all day long, trying to forget the past. At this moment, he had accumulated enough strength to step from the Emperor stage to the Quasi-Saint stage in one go. The second to break through was Yang Yuanqing. The former number 1 on the Heaven leaderboard was pushed to number 2 by Yi Chen. However, their relationship was not bad. Yang Yuanqing had also stepped into the quasi-saint stage. The third to break through was Yang Tian. Although he had received guidance from the Patriarch of Hell in the beginning, his cultivation base had stopped at Mastery Foundation building. Now that he had finally stepped into Golden Core, his battle prowess was no different from a quasi-saint. After that, auras rose into the sky one after another. To Yi Chen's disappointment, the rest stopped at the level of Supreme Giants. Even Yi Wen and the rest of the girls stopped at Foundation building. At the end of the day, their daily cultivation was still insufficient. Their accumulation was limited, and it was difficult for them to take that final step. From then on, there were 3 more quasi-saints under Yi Chen's command. Including Yi Wushuang, Luo Tianya, the Patriarch of Hell, and the Green Ox, there were a total of 7. Yi Chen spent a lot of resources to concoct the foundation building spirit liquid. He cleansed the muscles and marrow of the 3,000 soldiers that he had selected beforehand and guided them to cultivate. One should not underestimate these 3,000 people. In the future, these 3,000 people would often be able to control the overall situation on the battlefield. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, the Green Ox had returned. However, his face was bruised and swollen. As he walked, he howled, "Sky-roaming Dragon King, you son of AB*TCH F*CK your grandmother! Not only did you not acknowledge me as your godbrother, you even beat me up. If I didn't run fast enough, I'm afraid I'd have been captured by you. Just you wait, I'll be irreconcilable with you. When the cow falls to the flat land, it will be bullied by the dragon." As he spoke to this point, he said to Yi Chen in an extremely aggrieved manner, "Master, you have to seek justice for me. That bastard beat me up so badly. Why isn't this bird Dragon King giving me face?" Patriarch Yellow Spring was displeased. "Yes, second master." The Green Ox rolled his eyes and added fuel to the fire. "Not only did he not give you face after I reported your name, that bastard even said that he could fight 10 of you. How infuriating." Patriarch Yellow Spring was moved. "I've decided to." The Green Ox's ears flapped. She looked at him expectantly. Patriarch Yellow Spring said with a smile, "I've decided to have beef hot pot tonight to relieve my anger." The Green Ox was speechless. Yi Chen was not surprised by that outcome at all. The reason why he still asked the Green Ox to persuade him was because he wanted to give the old dragon a chance. "Get Yan Nanfei, Luo Tianya, and the rest to see me." A cold gleam flickered in Yi Chen's eyes. 15 minutes later, Yan Nanfei and the rest, as well as Yi Wushuang, Luo Tianya, and the rest arrived. "The 3-day deadline is up," Yi Chen said slowly. "I've always kept my word. I said that I'll destroy the 5 consortiums and Black Wind Ridge. I'll definitely destroy them." He looked at Luo Tianya and said with a smile, "Brother Luo, are you interested in going out for a walk? Tianya's hands have been itching these few days." Luo Tianya smiled. "All right." Yi Chen enunciated word by word, "Patriarch, Brother Luo, the 2 of you go to Black Mountain Ridge. I want to see old demon Black Mountain's head." Then, he turned to look at Yi Wushuang, Yan Nanfei, and the rest of the 7. "Wushuang, bring the 6 of them to the 5 consortiums. They've lived long enough." This time, the 7 quasi-saints made a move. "All right." Yi Wushuang's eyes were cold. The Green Ox said eagerly, "Old Master, what about me? Take my sword token to the Kunlun ruins." Yi Chen lifted his hand and condensed a golden sword token and tossed it at it. "When you get to the Kunlun ruins, go to the 9th peak and find a person called Elder Qing Xian. Tell him that I'm not talented and want to do what I did in the past. I want to have a battle between the saints of the East and West. Ask him to ask the saints of the Kunlun ruins on my behalf. Are they Chinese? Now that China is surrounded by powerful enemies, do they dare to fight their way into the West with Yi Chen? We'll destroy their orthodoxy and their inheritance. Restore the magnificent feet of China." Luo Tianya's expression changed slightly when he heard that. Yi Chen was planning to let the Kunlun ruins appear after he was done with his country. Then, he would lead the saints into the west. He could not help but feel a chill in his heart when he thought about the earth-shattering battle between the East and the West hundreds of years ago and the casualties caused. The green ox was instantly extremely excited. "Master, is this called a cloud-piercing arrow? An army of thousands of men and horses will come to meet?" When the outside world saw that the third day was about to pass, there was still no movement from Star Group. The 5 consortiums and Black Mountain Ridge were still calm. Many people sneered. Looks like Mad Southern Ye's arrogant words from before were just empty words. He doesn't have the guts to fight the 6 super forces alone. I didn't expect the former number 1 person in China to be so timid. However, it's no wonder. Anyone would be timid when facing the 6 super forces. Facing such a situation, even the people who supported Yi Chen earlier could not speak up for him anymore. Because the truth was right before their eyes? They could not help but smile bitterly when they thought to this point. Could it be that I was the number 1 person in China in the past? Is the treasured saber old? Meanwhile, in Fushi Taiji Consortium, the atmosphere was unusually serious. All the defensive formations and mechanisms had been activated. It could be said that Fushi Taiji was prepared for Yi Chen to come knocking on their door. Everyone was extremely nervous. At that moment, one of the upper echelons looked at the time and finally could not help but say, "Everyone, it's almost dark, but Mad Southern Yi is still not here. Could it be that he's afraid?" "I think so. If he wanted to come, he would have come a long time ago. Moreover, do you think Mad Southern Yi would really dare to come to Fushi Taiji?" One of the upper echelons sneered. "Fushi Taiji is one of the 6 consortiums. We have a terrifying foundation. What can a mere Mad Southern Yi do to us?" "Remove the formations and mechanisms," someone said in disappointment. "I'm a little disappointed that Mad Southern Yi didn't come. I thought that if he dared to come, perhaps Fushi Taiji could." Before he could finish, a cold voice suddenly exploded in the void. "If he really comes, what are you going to do to him?" P.S. Chapter 4, that's it. Please give me monthly votes and recommendation vote. Thank you. Chapter 975. If he really comes, what do you want to do? In Fushi Taiji Consortium, just as the upper echelons were mocking Yi Chen, such a cold voice suddenly exploded in the air. As this voice fell, all the upper echelons present were stunned. Clearly, they did not expect to be slapped in the face so quickly. At the next moment, the air trembled, and several powerful auras slowly walked out from the air. The leader was a young man around 16 or 17 years old dressed in white. Behind him were 7 people. They were Qin Xiaotian, Yang Tian, and the rest. Boom! The experts in Fushi Taiji immediately got into formation, looking like they were guarding against a great enemy. "Who are you?" The expression of the leader of Fushi Taiji changed slightly as he stared at Yi Wushuang and the rest. He had never seen Wushuang before. He was just curious why Yi Chen did not come personally and sent a young man instead. Wushuang's expression was cold. "I'm here to kill your people." "Kill us?" The leader of Fushi Taiji smirked coldly. "Just you guys? Why, Mad Southern Yi doesn't dare to come personally, so he sent you guys here to die." The upper echelons beside him also smirked coldly. They were not quasi-saints, so they did not know the cultivation bases of Yi Wushuang and the rest. However, they scoffed when they saw Qin Xiaotian and the rest behind Yi Wushuang. After all, the 5 consortiums had already known about Qin Xiaotian and the rest's information and combat strength. I didn't expect Mad Southern Yi to look down on Fushi Taiji so much. He only sent a few people here. One of the upper echelons sneered. "You guys came at the right time today. Let's see what Mad Southern Yi has to say after we kill you guys." "Kill them." Yi Wushuang closed his eyes slightly. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Tian and the rest, who could not hold it in any longer, stepped forward together. With a loud bang, their cultivation bases erupted. Almost at that moment, a supreme giant's upper echelon died. Dead silence. The scene was dead silent. The leader of Fushi Taiji's face twitched violently. At the same time, extreme waves surged in his heart. Quasi-saints. A total of 4 quasi-saints. Before this, the 5 consortiums had analyzed Yi Chen's combat ability. They guessed that he was at most a quasi-saint. However, he did not expect the star group to have so many quasi-saints. After all, the 5 consortiums only had 5 demi-saints in total. At that moment, cold sweat broke out on Fushi Taiji's forehead. Yes, cold sweat. If he had known that Yi Chen had such a powerful background, he would not have gone against Yi Chen publicly. Hold on, thinking of this, he shuddered and subconsciously said, I'm willing to surrender. A sword light slashed down. The helmsman of Fushi Taiji was instantly sliced into 2. Who dares to barge into my Fushi Taiji? As an old, furious voice rang out, an old man in a brocade robe flew through the air. This person was the only old ancestor of Fushi Taiji, and he had just entered the quasi-saint level not long ago. He was also Fushi Taiji's greatest reliance. Fushi Taiji was furious. However, the moment he appeared, he sensed the aura of Yi Wushuang and the rest. His expression changed abruptly, and he turned around and left without saying a word. Quasi-saints. A total of 4 quasi-saints. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. Then, Wushuang's white robe fluttered abruptly. A sword intent that soared into the sky pointed straight at Fushi Taiji's patriarch. Thousands of sword shadows moved along with it. Following that were screams of agony. The entire Fushi Taiji was bathed in blood. When Yi Wushuang, the patriarch of hell, and the rest split up, the outside world was still discussing if Yi Chen really did not dare to go to the 6 super forces. It's already night, but the 6 super forces still haven't made a move. It seems like Mad Southern Yi is really just talking. Someone posted on the internet with a mocking expression. Not long after, it attracted a lot of attention and was pushed to the top of the trending list. Damn it, I was looking forward to it for a long time. So he's a coward. Let's see what else he has to say now. That's right. He wasted our time. It turns out that Mad Southern Yi can't do it anymore. In my opinion, this so-called China #1 person in the past is just an undeserved reputation. He's nothing much. The internet was in an uproar over this. Right at this moment, an earth-shattering piece of news exploded on the internet, and it even spread at an extremely fast speed. Breaking news. Oh my god, just half an hour ago, Fushi Taiji, one of the 6 consortiums, was destroyed. The news was like a heavy bomb that caused a terrifying wave. It completely shocked the people who were mocking Yi Chen earlier. What? Are you serious? Of course it's true. All the upper echelons of Fushi Taiji were killed. The only patriarch was even beheaded and hung at the entrance of Fushi Taiji. All of a sudden, the world was shaken. Countless people shuddered, especially those who mocked Yi Chen earlier. They quietly logged off their accounts on the internet. That was a super consortium, and it was destroyed just like that. The ones who were the most terrified were the other 4 consortiums and the Black Mountain Ridge. Almost at the instant the news spread, the remaining 5 super forces made full preparations. The formation was fully activated, and the firepower was in place. Initially, they thought that Yi Chen was just joking. Never did they expect Fushi Taiji to be destroyed without a sound. It was only then that they truly realized that Yi Chen did not seem like someone who would joke around. However, both parties had already fallen out. It was impossible for them to admit defeat. Meanwhile, everyone was paying attention to the 5 super forces. At around 10:30 that night, several figures with terrifying auras suddenly descended from the sky where the primordial gene headquarters was located in Panzhou. Thunder rumbled, shaking the heavens and earth. It was accompanied by the sound of rocket launchers, mortars, bombers, and other densely packed loud noises. The commotion lasted for about an hour before it finally returned to dead silence. It was as if the entire world had fallen into silence. In the end, someone could not help but step forward to investigate. In the end, they were shocked to discover that the mountain range within a radius of 3,000 meters of the Primordial Gene Consortium seemed to have experienced an earthquake. It was forcefully sunk by someone. Within the Primordial Gene, corpses were everywhere and blood flowed like rivers. That night, the entire China was completely shaken. Whether it was on the internet or in reality, it was as if a nuclear bomb had been dropped. Oh my God, Mad Southern Yi just destroyed Fushi Taiji, and in the blink of an eye, he destroyed the Primordial Gene. He's really going to destroy all 6 super forces. This is too brutal. In the blink of an eye, 2 major consortiums were destroyed. How can Mad Southern Yi be so brutal? Who would dare to stand up against him? Good kill, good kill. We've been unhappy with the vampires of the 5 consortiums for a long time. God has eyes. Their doomsday has finally arrived. Some were shocked, some were excited, and some even made a statue of Yi Chen in the ancestral hall. They worshipped him day and night. Chapter 976. Just when everyone in the outside world thought that Fushi Taiji and Primordial Gene had been destroyed by Yi Chen, another piece of shocking news appeared on the internet. Exclusive news, exclusive news. Come and watch. A paparazzi who claimed to be from the Cultivation World's Discipline Inspection Committee revealed on the internet. In reality, Mad Southern Yi never left Star Group. He stayed at home the entire day. As soon as the post appeared, it caused an extreme shock and commotion. Countless people clicked on it in disbelief. Mad Southern Yi stayed at home the entire time? Someone cried out, "How is that possible?" If that's really the case, then who destroyed Fushi Taiji and Primordial Gene? Brother Go, is your news accurate? Another person asked doubtfully. Brother Go was the nickname of this person, who claimed to be from the Cultivation World's Discipline Inspection Committee. Before this person had always liked to expose scandals about celebrities having affairs, and he had never been wrong. Therefore, even though the entertainment industry hated him to the core, they could not do anything to him. After the spiritual energy recovery, this person changed his profession and revealed strange things in the cultivation world. He was known as the Cultivation World's Discipline Inspection Committee. For example, the last time he revealed that a rich woman was stabbed to death by her mutated poodle, it caused a huge commotion. Brother Go's products are definitely authentic. How can they be fake? Brother Go said with absolute certainty, "In the past 3 days, I've arranged countless hidden sentries outside Star Group and the Yi residence, but I've never seen Mad Southern Yi go out." Then tell me, who destroyed the 2 consortiums, Fushi Taiji and Primordial Gene? Could it be that the government did it? Someone questioned. Many people agreed with his question. That's right. Other than the government, who else had the power to wipe out the 2 consortiums? Brother Go immediately said, "In reality, although the person who destroyed the 2 consortiums wasn't Mad Southern Yi, it was Mad Southern Yi's people. Have you heard of Yi Wushuang and the Patriarch of Hell?" Yi Wushuang. Someone seemed to have thought of something. He sounds familiar. Before the spiritual energy recovery, this person seemed to be ranked 11th on the heaven leaderboard. He was only 15 or 16 years old, and he could be said to be a genius that only appears once in 100 years in China. Yes, that's him. Brother Dog smiled mysteriously. I'm afraid you guys still don't know this. After Mad Southern Yi returned, he had 2 existences with combat power comparable to ancient almighties by his side. Then, overnight, Star Group had 3 more super powerhouses out of nowhere. In other words, Star Group has several ancient almighties, and they're the ones who destroyed the 2 consortiums? So, it's true that Star Group has several ancient almighties, and they're the ones who destroyed the 2 consortiums. Terrifying. Simply terrifying. Countless people felt their scalp tingle. The various monster kings and forces were shocked. While the world was in, Tai World Go Clan was Yi of Taik. Although they were shocked when Fushi Taiji was destroyed, they felt that even though Yi Chen was the one who destroyed it, he had paid a huge price. As Yi World BB Yang Clan that they the clan of the four had the clan world be Yi. However, Yi Wushuang and the rest did not give them a chance. After destroying Fushi Taiji, they charged toward Primordial Gene. However, Yi Wushuang and the rest did not give them a chance. After destroying Fushi Taik, they charged toward Primordial Gene. Especially after knowing that Yi Chen did not do anything during the entire process, and that it was only his subordinates who caused such a commotion, Pangu Biogenetics completely lost its determination to resist. Especially when they found out that Yi Chen did not do anything during the entire process, and that it was only his subordinates who caused such a commotion, Pangu Biogenetics completely lost the will to resist. The leader of Pangu Biogenetics looked at the upper echelons with a grim expression. Everyone, what do you think we should do now? Should we surrender? One of the upper echelons gulped and said with a trembling voice. Surrender? Another upper echelon sneered. Don't forget that Mad Southern Yi has already given us a 3-day deadline. Now that the deadline has passed, this person won't accept it. Then what should we do? Are we going to follow in the footsteps of the two consortiums? Damn it, this Mad Southern Yi is so arrogant. Isn't the country going to do something about it? Also, isn't he afraid of angering the public? Everyone was arguing. The leader of Pangu Biogenetics seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said, "That's right, look for the country. As long as Pangu Biogenetics gives in to the country will save us." Thinking to this point, he immediately contacted the National Cultivation Bureau. However, to his surprise, he could not get through to them. His heart gradually sank. He tried all sorts of ways to contact his friends in the government departments, from the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Transportation, to the Ministry of Social Security. Dozens of calls did not go through. The leader of Pangu Biogenetics' heart sank completely. The others' faces were ashen. Unease, fear, and regret were like seaweed erupting, growing crazily in the end. The last call from the leader of Pangu Biogenetics went through. It was from the Family Planning Commission. Old Yang, help, help. The leader of Pangu Biogenetics spoke very humbly. The person called Old Yang clearly knew what had happened. He said awkwardly, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. Also, you're at the wrong place. This is the Family Planning Commission. How can I help you?" Old Yang, "I can't get through to the United Front Department. Think of a way to help me convey the news." The leader of Pangu Biogenetics said in a low voice, "Just say that Pangu Biogenetics is willing to hand over everything to the National Treasury. I hope you can give us a way out." Old Yang sighed and said, "I'll make it clear to you. It's useless no matter who you call." What? The leader of Pangu Biogenetics was stunned. "I'm not afraid to tell you that just 3 days ago, the higher-ups unanimously recommended Mad Southern Yi and conferred him the title of Mad Southern Heavenly King. He's ranked first among the 100 generals. He's in charge of 1 million troops and has the power to kill and seize. More than 30 provinces and the 10 war zones have already supported Mad Southern Yi in carrying out the weed extermination operation. 1 million troops are on standby, waiting for his order." Smack, before Old Yang could finish speaking, the leader of Pangu Biogenetics fell heavily to the ground. His face was ashen. "It's over, it's over. Everything is over, Mad Southern Heavenly King. 1 million troops on standby." At this moment, there was only endless regret in his heart. Rumble, at this moment the entire Pangu Biogenetics headquarters began to shake violently, as if the earth was shaking and the mountains were shaking. Everyone's expressions changed drastically. Under the orders of the Mad Southern Heavenly King, Pangu Biogenetics is suspected of stealing from the country. It has let down the country and the people of the world. Kill without mercy. Rumble. The killing intent that filled the sky almost enveloped the entire Pangu biogenetic. It stirred up the wind and clouds, stirred up the lightning in the 9 heavens, and destroyed everything. Chapter 977. The third consortium, Pangu Biology, was also destroyed. At 11 p.m. that night. The outside world was already numb. Pangu Biology is finished too. How long had it been? In less than 2 hours, 3 consortiums were destroyed one after another. The entire process was as easy as crushing dry weed. Countless people were shocked and regretful, however. Even more people were extremely excited, as expected of the former number 1 person in China. He's still so domineering and ruthless. That's right. The 5 consortiums provoked Mad Southern Yi previously. What happened in the end? 3 consortiums were destroyed in the blink of an eye. It can be said that he didn't move at all. Many people laughed loudly, feeling extremely carefree. Over the past few days, they had been scolded by all sorts of slander until they did not have the ability to retaliate. Now Yi Chen had given those who mocked him 3 hard slaps on their faces with his actions. He did not even bother to take action personally. He destroyed 3 consortiums consecutively with just his subordinate. Who would dare to look down on him? Now there are only the 2 consortiums left, the Spiritual Energy Recovery and the Nuwa God Creator, as well as the heretic organization Black Mountain Ridge. I want to know how those B***stards from Black Mountain Ridge are feeling right now. Many people were looking forward to it. However, at that moment a discordant voice was heard. Mad Southern Yi, it's detrimental to your virtue to kill so wantonly. Stop. Treat it as accumulating some good fortune for yourself. It was the old dragon from the Yangtze River who spoke. This old dragon had a high status around the Yangtze River. He was respected as a god by countless believers. At the same time, he had a high prestige among the mutated beasts. Therefore, when he spoke, it caused a huge commotion in the country. Countless people stood up to support him, including the demon kings who had remained silent earlier. The Dragon King is right. Mad Southern Yi is extremely ruthless. If this goes on, he will definitely become a scourge to our country. I suggest that the country suppress him. An old dragon believer supported. Not long after he said that, someone knocked on the door of the room, opened the door and checked the water meter. The other party looked through the peephole and realized that there were many people in military uniforms standing outside. He was so scared that he immediately jumped down from the kitchen skylight while wrapped in a bedsheet. With that leap, he landed right in the middle of a huge net. Countless people pounced forward to capture him. The leader of the group waved his hands. Take him away. After many people stood up to oppose Yi Chen, demon kings spoke up one after another. A wild boar in the eastern mountains that had mutated into a demon king pig said, Mad Southern Yi, it has nothing to do with me if your people fight to the death. However, Black Mountain Ridge is a member of the Eastern Demon King Alliance. If you dare to touch Black Wind Ridge, you'll be making an enemy of the Eastern Demon King Alliance. Wild boar, what the **ck do you mean? Are you going to protect the old monster of Black Mountain? The Rock King of the Southern Demon King Alliance stood out again. The Wild Boar King was enraged. Rock King, you're a member of my mutated beast race. What do you mean by protecting a human over and over again? Even the other demon monarchs couldn't stand it anymore. That's right, Pung King. We're all on the same side. There's no need to turn against each other now, right? Bullsh *T. The Rock King was extremely domineering as he supported Yi Chen. I've already said that Mad Southern Yi is a friend of the Rock tribe. Whoever dares to go against him is equivalent to going against the Rock tribe. After saying that, he pointed his sword at the Wild Boar King. Wild Boar, if you dare to say another word, I'll go to your Wild Boar Ridge tomorrow and pay you a visit. The Wild Boar King was completely terrified and did not say a word. Although it was also a demon king, it still knew the difference between it and the Rock King. However, there were people who were not afraid of the Rock King. If Mad Southern Yi dares to take a step into our mutated beast territory, our ocean tribe army will definitely attack and occupy your coastal cities. An octopus demon king along the Minuet coast shouted from afar, "We don't care how many casualties are caused." The Lobster Clan isn't convinced either. The Lobster King of the Lobster Clan provoked, "Mad Southern Yi, you only have the ability to be arrogant on land. If you have the ability, come to the sea. I guarantee that you won't be able to return. You bunch of trash." Mad Southern Yi stood up for the first time and personally said, "Even if you want to reincarnate, there's no need to be in such a hurry. I'll stew all of you sooner or later. Line up and come one by one." As soon as these words were spoken, many of the Ocean Tribe Demon Kings were furious. They secretly discussed to organize a new army to attack the coastal cities of China. At that moment, the old dragon on the Yangtze River spoke again. "Mad Southern Yi, let me give you a piece of advice. If you do too much evil, you'll bring about your own destruction. It's better for you to stop. Otherwise, you might bring about a fatal disaster." "Old thing," Yi Chen sneered, "you don't have to mediate here and pretend to be a good person. If you're not convinced, you're welcome to fight." His words ignited everything again. Countless people cheered for him. Mad Southern Yi is right. If anyone is not convinced, you're welcome to stand up and wait for Mad Southern Yi to wipe you all out. "I think some people are courting death again. They're constantly testing Mad Southern Yi's bottom line," someone chuckled. "Mad Southern Yi, the Ocean Tribe is too arrogant. After we destroy the two consortiums and the Black Mountain Ridge, I suggest you go to the sea." However, more people were looking forward to it. The price of pork has risen recently. The fat pig at Wild Boar Ridge should taste pretty good. There's also lobster and octopus. My wife has been craving it for a long time. The Wild Boar King and the Ocean Tribe were so angry that they were fuming. Humans were too arrogant. They were actually thinking about how to eat them. In the early hours of the same night, the recovery of spiritual energy and the destruction of the Nuwa Creator Consortium swept through the entire country like a tidal wave. Countless people could not sleep at night. Even though they had already guessed the outcome, the shock in everyone's hearts could not be erased when they really faced it. The 5 consortiums had all been destroyed, and not a single one was left. There was no more shocking news than this. Those were the 5 consortiums that controlled most of the cultivation resources in the country. However, they were destroyed just like that. As the news spread, the details of the destruction of the 5 consortiums were dug out. Shocking. I heard that the person who led the team to destroy the 5 consortiums was Mad Southern Yi's brother, Yi Wushuang. This kid is only 17 or 18 years old, but he possesses an extremely terrifying cultivation base. He's also good at sword Dao. He killed an ancient almighty with a single strike. All of a sudden, Yi Wushuang's name shook the entire China. Countless people paid attention to him, and he surpassed Yi Chen in the limelight. Among them, the girls were the craziest. When a video of Yi Wushuang destroying Fushi Taiji was released online, everyone was shocked. Is he Yi Wushuang? He's so handsome. Oh no, I realize that I've fallen in love with him. Overnight, Yi Wushuang gained tens of millions of female fans. Meanwhile, these female fans changed their online names to "My husband is Yi Wushuang," "I'm Yi Wushuang's lover," "Yi Wushuang loves me every night," and so on. Even the most popular male idols in the country paled in comparison to Yi Wushuang. At around 3 a.m. the next day, the Patriarch of Hell and Luo Tianya successfully arrived at the Eastern Mountain, Black Mountain Ridge. Chapter 978. Black Mountain Ridge. In the Eastern Mountains there were a total of 18 ridges. An existence like Black Mountain Ridge was only one of them. However, just Black Mountain Ridge alone had a demon king that was comparable to a quasi-saint. From this, it could be seen that the Eastern Mountains had the confidence to provoke any existence. They even looked down on the Chinese officials. At that moment, Black Wind Ridge was heavily guarded. A female voice could be heard crying in the cave, "King Feng has been dead for so long, yet you're still indifferent. Are you worthy of being a father?" The cave was very magnificent. A woman in a jade-green palace dress wiped her tears and cried, "Did Feng die for nothing?" She was old Demon Black Mountain's 35th concubine. At the same time, she was the mother of the young man in black that Yi Chun killed on Mount Tai. "All right, I got it." A middle-aged man with a sinister face and cold eyes waved his hand in annoyance. "What do you know as a wife? Mad Southern Yi is powerful now. He has destroyed 5 consortiums consecutively. Black Mountain Ridge can't compete with him at this time. Otherwise, everyone will be finished." The other party was the master of Black Mountain Ridge, the Bat King, Old Demon Black Mountain. He controlled hundreds of thousands of mutated beasts in the eastern mountains. "King, if this Mad Southern Yi is really that powerful, why aren't you running away?" The lady in the jade-green palace dress turned pale. "Run." Old Demon Black Mountain smirked coldly. "I admit that Mad Southern Yi's subordinates are not bad, but they're not good enough for me to run away." At this point, he was extremely confident. Moreover, Black Mountain Ridge has the Eastern Mountain Demon King alliance behind it. Even if Mad Southern Yi wants to touch me, he has to think twice. Boom! At that moment, a deafening explosion suddenly came from outside Black Mountain Ridge, accompanied by a series of shrill cries. What happened? Old Demon Black Mountain was shocked. He turned into a black shadow and shot out. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Mad Southern Yi's men are really here? "Your Majesty, it's bad. 2 people are attacking my Black Mountain Ridge. They're already here." A huge bat flew over in fear. "Only 2 people?" Old Demon Black Mountain heaved a sigh of relief. "I remember that there were 7 or 8 people who destroyed the 5 consortiums. Why are there only 2 now?" Then, he could not help but sneer as killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Bastard, how dare the 2 of you attack my Black Mountain Ridge? You must be tired of living." His voice fell. He immediately transformed into a giant bat and quickly flew down the mountain to investigate the commotion. Rumble, the Patriarch of Hell, and Luo Tianya revealed their killing intent as they charged towards the interior of Black Mountain Ridge crazily. Screams followed wherever they passed. At this moment, a purple bat covered the sky and flew over. Then, it transformed into a human form and revealed the face of the Witch of the Black Mountain. The Witch of the Black Mountain had no vision, but an electromagnetic wave spread toward the 2 of them. "Who are you? Don't you know that this Black Mountain Ridge is my territory?" "Old bat, you don't recognize me anymore?" Patriarch Yellow Spring stopped and looked at him with a faint smile. "What? It's you." The Witch of the Black Mountain instantly recognized the Patriarch of Hell. At first, he was shocked. Then, he sneered and said, "I know you. You're the former number 1 person in the Star Group. Why, you're just a supreme giant. How dare you attack my Black Mountain Ridge?" "Supreme giant?" The Patriarch of Hell cackled. "Old bat, looks like you're really blind. How dare you look down on me?" "Kill them." A bat of a supreme giant charged at the Patriarch of Hell without saying a word. However, before it could get close, it was killed by the Patriarch with a slap. "Quasi-Saint." The Witch of the Black Mountain's expression changed. Then, he gasped, "You've actually stepped out of the Quasi-Saint stage." He clearly remembered that the Patriarch of Hell was still a supreme giant previously. How did he suddenly become a quasi-saint? "There's a lot you don't know." The Patriarch of Hell sneered and said to Luo Tianya beside him, "Let's do it. Kill this old bat as soon as possible and go back to sleep with your little sisters." Boom! At the next moment, the 2 of them moved together. 15 minutes later, the Witch of the Black Mountain let out a blood-curdling scream. His wings were forcefully cut off and he fell from the sky. He rolled on the ground and screamed. His heart was filled with endless fear. Quasi-saints. 2 quasi-saints. He did not expect that apart from the 4 quasi-saints who destroyed the 5 consortiums, 2 more quasi-saints would appear. Both of you, how about we stop here? I'm willing to publicly apologize to Mad Southern Yi and submit to him. The Witch of the Black Mountain had no choice but to admit defeat in an attempt to fight for a chance of survival. You're only regretting now? It's over. The Patriarch did not buy it at all. The Witch of the Black Mountain's expression changed as he threatened, I'm a member of the Eastern Demon King Alliance. If you dare to kill me, the Eastern Demon King Alliance will not let you off. Demon King Alliance? The Patriarch of Hell smiled disdainfully. How dare you threaten me when you're about to die? I don't care about your Demon King Alliance. If you dare to attack me, I'll kill you all the same. Boom! Luo Tianya did not say a word. The purple fist force traversed the sky like a bolt of purple lightning descending from the sky. Then, it headed straight for the Witch of the Black Mountain. No! The Witch of the Black Mountain was terrified and indignant. However, he could not resist Luo Tianya's punch at all. His body exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. A demon king had officially died. The rest of the members of the Black Mountain Ridge were so scared that their faces turned pale. The auras hidden in the dark retracted as if they had seen something terrifying. No one dared to stand out and say a word. The Patriarch of Hell then took out his phone and called Yi Chen. Xiao Yezi, I've settled it. However, the Witch of the Black Mountain was killed by Luo Tianyao with a single punch. I can't get his head back for you. That night, countless people who had stayed up all night waiting for news finally received what they had been waiting for. The Black Mountain Ridge was destroyed. The Witch of the Black Mountain Ridge was dead. This shocking news completely dispelled everyone's sleepiness. There was only a bone-piercing chill in their hearts. Mad Southern Yi had said that he would destroy the 5 consortiums and the Black Mountain Ridge. Now, he had really done it. In just a few hours, the 6 superpowers that stood tall in the world were completely wiped out. In the United Front Department, Old Wong waved his pen and laughed. His laughter shook the sky. Congratulations to humanity, congratulations to China. Congratulations to humanity, congratulations to China. That night, countless soldiers at the front line roared in unison. They hugged each other excitedly, their eyes brimming with tears. No one knew how many human casualties and the sacrifices of the soldiers would be reduced by the destruction of the Black Mountain Ridge. Congratulations to humanity, congratulations to China. That night, countless people on the internet were in an uproar. It also pushed Yi Chen, Yi Wushuang, and the rest's reputation to the peak. That night, the old dragon in the Yangtze River secretly sent invitations to many demon kings to form the Extermination Alliance. Yi Chen smirked coldly when he found out. Coldness surged in his eyes. Extermination Alliance? Are they trying to join forces to destroy me, Mad Southern Yi? P.S. Chapter 4 has been updated today. Please give me monthly votes and recommendation vote. Thank you. Chapter 979. As Yi Chen destroyed the 5 consortiums and Black Wind Ridge with lightning speed, the outside world was already boiling like a boiling ocean. Countless people in the country were shocked by Yi Chen's power. Even many foreign forces were alarmed. Just when everyone thought that this series of bloody methods would be able to intimidate the demon kings and the beasts in the world, however, an extremely shocking piece of news spread on the internet. It's reported that many demon kings from the north, south, east, west, and center of China have been mobilized. They've secretly gathered at the Yangtze River's Water Dragon Palace. They seem to be discussing some shocking plan. As the news spread, the already boiling atmosphere in the country was once again ignited. What? All the demon kings have been mobilized? An extremely ancient human almighty was shocked when he heard that. What are they doing? Could it be that they're working together to bring chaos to China? Oh my God, is that true? However, there were even more people who found it unbelievable. It's true. An insider revealed, Within 2 hours after the Black Mountain Ridge was destroyed, a demon king flew across the sky from the north. It's heading towards the Yangtze River. The Eastern Guards Regiment also noticed it. At first, we thought that they were going to launch a night attack. A powerhouse at the front line said. Seeing that people had stepped forward to confirm the authenticity of the news, the country fell into a short period of dead silence. Previously, although there were many demon kings and beasts everywhere in the country, many of the demon kings had their own formations, so China could barely deal with them. Now that many demon kings had joined forces, it meant that they were all tied together. There were more than 1 million beasts under their command. Who could stop them? Just as everyone was panicking about the unknown, the old dragon in the Yangtze River spoke. Chinese humans, my believers, the reason why we've gathered this time is not to deal with you. It's because mad Southern Yi refused to listen to our advice and destroyed the Black Mountain Ridge of the beast. This is equivalent to challenging the dignity of the beast. The old dragon targeted Yi Chen. Therefore, after our discussion, as long as mad Southern Yi comes to the Water Dragon Palace to kowtow and admit his mistake within 3 days, we'll let him live. Otherwise, in 3 days, we'll join forces and charge south with 1 million beasts. We'll massacre China and destroy the Star Group. We'll use mad Southern Ye's blood to defend the dignity of the beasts. Following the old dragon's words, the country immediately fell into a deathly silence. In order to deal with Yi Chen, the old dragon threatened Yi Chen with the lives of hundreds of millions of people in China. He even made Yi Chen kneel to him. Currently, Yi Chen's prestige in the country was no different from a legend. He was the pride of mankind because he was the one who destroyed the 5 consortiums that rode on countless people's heads. He was also the one who stood on the side of mankind and fought the beast. Now, the other party actually wanted the legend in their hearts to kneel and apologize to the beast. This action was equivalent to trampling on the dignity of all humans. How could they endure it? Arrogant. These bastards are really too arrogant. They actually dare to threaten us. This is really infuriating. That's right, especially that old loach. Who does he think he is? Is he the ruler of China or an immortal emperor? How dare you speak to mad Southern Yi in such a tone? For a time, the country was in an uproar. Countless people were filled with righteous indignation and accused the old dragon in all sorts of ways. Under such circumstances, a harmonious voice was heard. He's targeting mad Southern Yi. Why are you guys so agitated? Well said. Someone agreed. Isn't it just asking mad Southern Yi to apologize and admit his mistake? What's the big deal? It's not like he's committing suicide. I think it's not a bad idea to let the beasts rule us. Perhaps everyone's lives will change? In the face of such a situation, Star Group was extremely quiet. Old Wang from the United Front Department had already rushed over secretly. Mr. Yi, the higher-ups mean that you don't have to care about their threats. China is not afraid of a battle. The old man's eyes were filled with determination. Even though he was over 100 years old, his blood was still as warm as before. Moreover, smart people could tell that Yi Chen represented the Chinese cultivation world. Once he knelt, the Chinese cultivation world would not be able to raise their head. The consequence would be that the beasts would become even more arrogant. Palace Master, before I came, the brothers of the Dragon King Palace asked me to bring you a message. The Deputy Palace Master of the Dragon King Palace, Li Ying, looked at him fixedly and said word by word, Alas! Although 3 families of Chu can destroy Qin, how can China be empty? Under their gazes, Yi Chen sat leisurely and slowly tasted the fragrant tea in his hand. Then, he said with a faint smile, There's no need to be so nervous. Even if they didn't look for me, I would look for them sooner or later for the sake of China's stability. Now that they're doing this, I'm satisfied. His eyes flickered and his gaze filled with disdain. Give me 3 days. 3 days later, I'll destroy them in one fell swoop and return China to eternal peace. After sending the 2 of them off, Yi Chen called Yi Wen and the other girls over and handed them a list. "I'll give you guys a day to prepare all the materials on the list for me." The girls took it and took a look. When they realized that there were more than 1,000 types of materials on it, they were shocked. "Brother, if we want to gather them in a day, I'm afraid we'll have to ask the government for help." "Sure." Yi Chen knocked on the table with his hand. He looked at the sky with a fierce gleam in his eyes. "I'll give them a big gift in 3 days." Outside Star Group, in a jeep, Liang glanced at the solemn old Wang and could not help but ask, "Old Wang, do you think the palace master can resolve this situation?" Even she could not help but shudder at the thought of dozens of demon kings working together and 1,000,000 beast hordes. "It's difficult." Old Wang sighed softly. 1,000,000 beast hordes is fine. After all, China also has 1,000,000 heroes. However, the key is that those dozens of demon kings are all quasi-saints, and Mr. Yi, is there no other way? Li Ying's face turned pale. "Perhaps there's a way." Old Wang seemed to have thought of something, and then he said with a bitter smile, "It's time to put down my pride and go to those secret realms and grotto heavens. I hope they can mediate this conflict on account of the fact that we're all humans." One had to admit that Star Group was very efficient. The entire group started operating as soon as Yi Chen gave the order. The next morning, Yi Chen had gathered all the materials he needed. Yi Wen secretly sent them over in her storage ring. In the secret room built by Star Group, Yi Chen and the Patriarch of Hell sat opposite each other. Yi Chen and the Patriarch of Hell sat across each other. There were 2 huge cauldrons of earthly fire in front of them, and there were also mountains of refining materials. "Fellow Yi, is this the mountain-moving flag that you mentioned to the Patriarch?" The Patriarch of Hell raised his hand and formed a hand seal. The memories in his mind appeared, and he could not hide the shock on his face. Chapter 980. Just now, Yi Chen came to him and wanted to refine 2 earth-shattering magic tools with him. One of the magic tools was called the mountain-moving flag. The flag had the ability to move mountains and summon groups across worlds. As long as someone waved the flag, they could summon thousands of people from afar. "That's right." Yi Chen nodded lightly and said, "Just one flag can summon 3,000 people. However, I need to set up a formation beforehand." At the end of the day, the mountain-moving flag was equivalent to a teleportation formation that could teleport groups thousands of kilometers away. When he was in the immortal world, the 4 heavenly kings held this flag. Just one flag could summon hundreds of thousands of people. "So, you're saying that you want to teleport the 1,000,000 army through this flag?" The Patriarch of Hell saw through Yi Chen's thoughts immediately. "That's right." Yi Chen smiled lightly. "Therefore, I'll have to trouble you for the next 2 days. You must refine 360 mountain-moving flags. One flag could summon 3,000 people, so 360 flags could summon the 1,000,000 army. With this flag, the 1,000,000 soldiers would definitely shock the world. 360 flags. The Patriarch of Hell almost vomited blood when he heard that. His face twitched violently as he said, "Refine 360 flags in 2 days? Are you trying to blow me up?" "You don't have to worry about that." Yi Chen waved his hand. Countless spirit stones fell from his storage ring onto the ground. At that moment, spiritual energy was like mist. "What about you? You can't let me work alone." The Patriarch of Hell looked unwilling. "Of course, I have my own mission." Yi Chen smiled mysteriously. Subsequently, he lifted his hand and waved. He appeared in another secret room. An ancient and mysterious golden pagoda slowly appeared in his mind. The golden pagoda had a total of 9 floors. It was like an octagonal object with 8 sides. There was a pagoda carved on each side, and the 8 sides happened to be the 8 divisional pagoda. It emitted a domineering and sharp aura as if it wanted to suppress everything. The 8 divisional pagoda. Yi Chen smirked at the corner of his lips. "This is the Dragon Clan's treasure. Once this item is refined, its power will be boundless and its divine might will be monstrous. It can suppress all evil and all kinds of heretics. With my original infant stage cultivation, although I cannot fully restore the 8 divisional stupa's true power, I can still use it to suppress the saints. Then, he took a deep breath, and the spiritual essence in his body surged. He waved his hand, and the materials on the ground immediately shot toward him. In the secret chamber, a terrifying true essence surged endlessly, like divine lightning alternating between flashing and extinguishing, and there was a faint trace of a disdainful aura quietly awakening. Meanwhile, the outside world was completely unaware of this. They were still arguing endlessly about the demon kings gathering to target Yi Chen. In the Yangtze River's Water Dragon Palace, a demon king shouted, "Mad Southern Yi hasn't said anything yet. Could he be afraid now?" It was the Wild Boar King. After he said that, he immediately received the support of many demon kings. Ha ha ha, is there a need to guess? With dozens of demon kings working together, I'm afraid a mere Mad Southern Yi would have been scared to the point of trembling. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. From the moment Mad Southern Yi killed the Black Mountain Demon King, his fate was decided. If I were Mad Southern Yi, I would rush to the Yangtze River's Water Dragon Palace and kowtow to us to apologize. The longer this drags on, the more we won't forgive him. The more the Demon Kings spoke, the more excited they became. One of the Demon Kings even shouted at the golden-winged rock, "Rock King, weren't you always on Mad Southern Ye's side? Why are you mute now? Rock King, don't tell me you're scared too?" The golden-winged rock was furious. "Multicolor King, are you provoking the Rock Clan? Since when do I need you to tell me what to do?" Northeast, deep in the old forest, a woman in white stood in front of the stone wall and said gently, "Grand Aunt, may I ask if you agreed to the Water Dragon Palace's invitation?" Although the woman's voice was weak, there was a hint of anger in her tone. It was like a flame in the spring breeze. The sky-roaming Dragon King has gathered dozens of demon kings. The 5 immortals can't reject him, but we only agreed to remain neutral. After a long time, an old voice came from the stone wall. "The Northeast Immortals will not attack Mad Southern Yi, nor will we help him. He won't be able to escape death. I advise you to focus on him." The woman in white could only sigh when she heard that. Shanzhou. On top of the huge pagoda, there was a dignified man in a black dragon robe standing with his hands behind his back. He looked in the direction of the mausoleum of Li Mountain. His gaze seemed to have pierced through time. It was Ying, who had disappeared for a long time. At that moment, a black dragon flew over from the sky and turned into a man in iron armor. He knelt on one knee and said, "Master, Yi is now surrounded. Should we attack?" "Attack?" Ying's dragon robe fluttered in the wind, and his voice was indifferent. "Of course I will attack. If this person can't even deal with a few dozen beasts, I will attack. However, I will let him die in my hand. I will suck the blood of his sacred body and seize his dragon energy. Moreover, Fengdu is about to be unsealed. It's time to take back what I left behind back then." Time passed in a flash. Yi Chen still had not come out of closed-door cultivation when there was only 1 day left of the 3-day agreement. On the other hand, Old Wang brought an old man in a purple Taoist robe and a purple gold crown to Star Group. Yiwen looked at the Taoist behind Old Wang warily and said slowly, "My brother is in closed-door cultivation. Why don't you wait?" "What time is it?" "He's still in closed-door cultivation." Old Wang was anxious. What's the point of going into closed-door cultivation now? On the other hand, the Taoist behind him smirked coldly. "Only now do you know how to be anxious? Unfortunately, it's too late." At the end of his sentence, his eyes narrowed slightly as he said coldly, "I'll give him another 30 minutes. For the safety of the human race, he must come out. Otherwise, don't blame me for forcefully breaking through." Old Wang's expression changed slightly. Just as he was about to speak, an extremely cold voice came from behind everyone. "Do you dare to say that again? Old Wang and the Taoist immediately turned around. A young man in white slowly walked over. His cold eyes were fixed on the Taoist. The Taoist's expression turned grim. "What did you say just now? Do you dare to repeat what you said just now?" Yi Wuxiang looked into his eyes without any hesitation. The Taoist laughed out of extreme anger. "How dare a junior like you speak to me in such a tone? Did I say anything wrong? Many demon kings have gathered and are about to march south, but mad Southern Yi is hiding like a coward in the name of closed-door cultivation." Boom! Before he could finish speaking, the originally calm space suddenly trembled violently. Then, an endless sword Dao will erupted from Yi Wuxiang's body. A giant sword condensed from countless sword qi appeared out of thin air and slashed at the Taoist with the might of lightning. Chapter 981. Impudent! The Taoist priest was instantly enraged. With a light wave of the horsetail whisk in his hand, it was as if he was waving the entire galaxy as he brazenly faced the giant sword that was slashing at his head. Rumble, as the void trembled, the horsetail whisk in the Taoist priest's hand shattered, and he took a few steps back. His expression was both shocked and furious. His left hand, which was hanging at his waist, could not stop trembling, and blood slowly dripped down. "Junior, how dare you hurt me? Say another word and you'll die." Yi Wuxiang's expression was cold. The Taoist priest, "You, don't be rash." Old Wang hurriedly stopped him. "This is Lei Wanjun from Purple Cloud Grotto. I invited him here to resolve the matter with the Yangtze River's Water Dragon Palace." After the spiritual energy recovery, not only had demon kings awakened, but secret realms such as Grotto Heavens had also appeared. The people living in them were all human almighties. However, they were extremely high and mighty, and had never come into contact with the secular world. In order to resolve the crisis for Yi Chen, he had no choice but to invite Lei Wanjun from Purple Cloud Grotto. However, he really did not expect that the person he invited to help would have a conflict with Yi Wuxiang. If that was the case, wouldn't this path be completely cut off? As expected, as if to verify his guess, Lei Wanjun laughed angrily. All right. Is this how you treat your guests? It seems like mad Southern Yi doesn't need the help of our Grotto Heavens." With that, he planned to leave with a flick of his sleeve. Old Wang hurriedly said, "Lei Exalted Immortal, please stop. This matter concerns the survival of the human race. Please consider the bigger picture." "It's fine if I don't leave." Lei Wanjun took a deep breath in and looked at Yi Wuxiang with a cold smile on his face. "This brat must apologize to me." Old Wang suppressed his anger and looked at Yi Wuxiang, who remained unmoved. He could only sigh softly to himself. How could he not know the pride of someone like Lei Wanjun from a grotto? However, for the sake of the bigger picture, he could only hold it in. What arrogance! In this deadlock, a faint voice rang out from within the secret room. Then, a skinny figure slowly walked out. "Brother!" Yiwen hurried forward. Old Wang heaved a sigh of relief. "Let me introduce you. This is Purple Cloud Grottos." "There's no need for introductions." Yi Chen interrupted him and glared at Lei Wanjun. "How dare a mere person from the secret zone ask my brother to apologize to you? Who gave you the courage? Mad Southern Yi, how dare you treat me like this?" Lei Wanjun's expression changed slightly as if he was enraged. "Don't forget that I represent the blessed enclave. You'll die if the mighty figures of the human race don't help." "I don't need your help." Yi Chen chuckled softly. "Please. Don't regret this." Lei Wanjun was shocked. Clearly, he did not expect Yi Chen to be so stubborn. Scram! Yi Chen's shout was like thunder. Fine. Let's see how you'll deal with this deadly situation without us." Lei Wanjun laughed angrily and left with a flick of his sleeve. After he left, Elder Wang sighed. "You were too impulsive." He thought Yi Chen had said those words out of anger earlier. Impulse. Yi Chen raised his brows and said while shaking his head, "Elder Wang, I appreciate your kindness, but I don't need anyone's help. Elder Wang's lips moved slightly, and he heard an incomparably proud laughter coming from the secret chamber. Fellow Yi, I've succeeded. I've succeeded. Yi Chun put away the smile on his face and said seriously, Oh yeah, get the 100 generals from the 10 preparation zones to see me. Although his voice was extremely calm, it contained a trace of killing intent that could not be concealed. Tiannan battlefront. On a huge field, more than 300 figures stood tall like steel. Even though it was raining and the temperature was below zero, the scene was extremely silent, as if it had been petrified. Dong, 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 the dull and oppressive sound of war drums slowly sounded from the military camp, like beating hearts that were suppressing their anger. Today I, Yi Chen, am untalented. I'm willing to be the sharp sword of China and kill all the enemies in the world. I'll return China to its former glory. And I'll need your help. Yi Chen stood on the high platform. 10 blue flags appeared in his hands. He suddenly shouted, Where's Yan Nanfei? Boom! Yan Nanfei charged forward. Yi Chen lifted his hand and tossed. 10 mountain-moving flags shot out immediately. I order you to lead 30,000 troops and be the right commander of the Eastern Front Line. Where's Han Qinhu? As soon as Yi Chen said that, Han Qinhu took a step forward. 10 mountain-moving flags landed in his hands. I order you to be the left commander of the Eastern Front Line and lead 30,000 troops. Where's Li Yunxiao? Another 10 mountain-moving flags shot out. I order you to be the commander of the Eastern Front Line and lead 30,000 troops. Where's Wu Jiangwo? Where's Qin Weijin? Half an hour later, Yi Chen had distributed all 360 mountain-moving flags on him. The troops were deployed to the 5 places where the beasts gathered. He glanced at the 20 mountain-moving flags that the Patriarch had refined and said to Pang Yuanqing beside him, Are the heavy artillery battalion and the other mobile units ready? We've been ready for a long time. Pang Yuanqing immediately stood at attention and said, Moreover, Old Wang has already ordered people to engrave talismans on these equipment, as well as the 5 nuclear bombs codenamed Sky Thunder that have been recently developed. At that moment, Old Wang arrived in a helicopter. Old Wang, I'll leave everything here to you. Yi Chen said while smiling lightly, Once I attack at the Water Dragon Palace, you must attack at the same time. Rush to 5 directions and destroy this army of 1 million beasts. That was his real goal. So what if he killed a few dozen demon kings? After killing them, a new demon king would be born in the army of 1 million beasts. If he wanted to kill them, he would eliminate them once and for all. With the mountain-moving flags, the army of 1 million could cross thousands of kilometers in an instant and catch the beasts off guard. There's no problem on my side, but you. Old Wang sighed softly, his eyes slightly red. He had already found out about Yi Chen's plan. Initially, he thought that Yi Chen wanted to use the army of 1 million to go to the Water Dragon Palace. Never did he expect that his real goal was to deal with the army of 1 million beasts. Most importantly, Yi Chen needed to go to the Water Dragon Palace and face dozens of demon kings alone if he wanted to carry out the plan successfully. Don't worry. Yi Chen smiled lightly as he looked at them disdainfully. That afternoon, the Star Group finally spoke. They announced that the master of the Star Group, Mad Southern Yi, was going north to flatten the Water Dragon Palace, wipe out everything, and suppress the foreign tribes. When the news spread, the world was shocked. He's crazy, he's crazy. Mad Southern Yi is really crazy. How dare he say such arrogant words? Doesn't he know that his opponents are dozens of demon kings and 1 million beasts? Countless people revealed looks of disbelief. Almost at that moment, Mount Longhu, the previous 3rd-generation celestial master of Mount Longhu, Taoist Master Long Quan, was worried about all the disciples. He laughed out loud. Mad Southern Yi, you're indeed a legend of China. You're so determined. When have we ever been afraid of death? At the next moment, he took a deep breath in and said in a low voice, Disciples, listen up. Anyone who can run and move will follow me north. We won't return until we destroy the Water Dragon Palace. Mao Mountain. Has this day finally come? The only quasi-saint of Maoshan shouted like thunder, "Fine, I'll do my best to fight for a path to the heavens for China." Wudong Mountain. Grandmaster Li Xuanji's blood surged. Fight! 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 Such a scene played out in countless cultivation sects in China. Countless sects used all their strength to silently head north. The Yangtze River Water Dragon Palace spoke again. Mad Southern Yi overestimates himself. How dare you provoke the beasts? After we kill you, we'll massacre China and leave no one alive. Everyone was infuriated by his words. Mad Southern Yi, let's fight. Kill all these animals and let them know who the real master of this world is. On the other hand, a storm was set off on the internet. Forums, tribes, short videos, live streaming platforms, and other major interactive platforms were all furious. Damn it, damn it. Do you think the hundreds of thousands of cultivators and millions of mutants in China are made of mud? Countless young cultivators and mutants wished they could kill their way into the Yangtze River Water Dragon Palace right now. There are many heroes in Yanhuang. They are not afraid to fight 100 people alone. They will take revenge. Look at the blood of the Chinese men. Cultivate my sword, kill my way up to the 9 heavens, spill my blood and press forward. Fight, fight, kill, kill, kill. P.S. Chapter 3, not today. Because I'm about to take the second exam, I've wasted a lot of time practicing. Sorry, I go to driving school at 6:30 a.m. every day and only come back at 6 or 7 p.m. I don't even have time to eat. I'll be fine after I'm done. Chapter 982. Water Dragon Palace. It was located at the source of the Yangtze River, the Tongtian River. This place was originally a livestock and agricultural area. After the spiritual energy of heaven and earth recovered, a dragon that was more than 200 meters long rose from the river. The dragon spoke the human language, moved the clouds and rain, passed down cultivation techniques, and saved the world. It had indeed recruited more than 10 million believers nearby. The dragon called itself the Sky Roaming Saint. As soon as it appeared, it attracted countless beasts to join it. There was even no lack of demon kings that were comparable to quasi-saint. Therefore, this dragon and its Water Dragon Palace had an extremely high status and authority among the beasts. If it was in the past, countless believers would go to the hall outside the Water Dragon Palace to pray for blessings every day. However, it was deathly silent today. That was because everyone knew that the Star Group and the Water Dragon Palace had started a war. The former number 1 person in China, Mad Southern Yi, was about to head north. He threatened to flatten the Water Dragon Palace and kill everything. This shocking battle that almost determined the balance between the human race and the beasts in China naturally attracted the attention of everyone and the beast. Under such circumstances, there were still people rushing over less than a kilometer away from the entrance of the Water Dragon Palace. These people did not go near the Water Dragon Palace. Instead, they stood quietly on the spot. They did not speak to each other, as if they were waiting for someone. There were also people carrying cameras. At that moment, a green robe flew over from the sky, accompanied by a surprised voice. Brother Su from Maoshan, why are you here too? An old Taoist priest from Maoshan cupped his hands and said, Seiji is determined to flatten the Water Dragon Palace and return the human race to peace. As humans, how can we not come? That's right. Another old man with a walking stick in his hand said with a trembling voice, although spiritual master Yi is suppressing the world, he is still weak in the end. If there is a place where we can be of use, we will charge forward even if we die. That's right. We're all people who have half of our bodies in the ground. If we can do something for China with our remaining bodies, what's the big deal about dying? An extremely old laughter came from the void. Then, an old man in white stepped through the air and arrived. Many people present were shocked when they saw the newcomer, and then they bowed and cupped their fists. Greetings, old celestial master. The person who came was the old celestial master of Mount Longhu, Taoist Long Quan, who had lived for 3 generations. Outsiders thought that he had passed away long ago, but who would have thought that he was still alive? Ha ha, Long Quan, you old thing, your life is really tough. You're actually still alive. Another burst of laughter rang out, and then an old woman in linen clothes with 2 sabers in her hands leaped over. Lotus Flower Valley's Granny Lotus. TSK, I can't believe she's still alive. Gasps could be heard from the surroundings. On the other hand, the onlookers were extremely shocked. Mao Mountain, Wudong Mountain, Dragon Tiger Mountain, Amei Mountain, Wutai Mountain, 8 Trigrams School, Taizu's Long Fist, and all the other traditional Chinese sects were all present. Those people were there to help Yi Chen. All of them moved because of Yi Chen. That was the influence of mad Southern Yi in the country. After seeing Granny Lotus, Taoist Master Su and the rest had strange expressions on their faces. Their gazes moved back and forth between Taoist Master Long Quan and the former. Rumor had it that before Taoist Master Long Quan entered Mount Longhu, he had a romantic past with the young and charming Granny Lotus. Later on, when Taoist Master Long Quan went up the mountain to cultivate, Granny Lotus caused a ruckus on Mount Longhu, demanding an explanation from Taoist Master Long Quan. She even divorced Taoist Master Long Quan as a woman. From then on, the two of them never contacted each other. It had been more than 200 years. However, the two of them met again today because of Yi Chen. Lotus, haven't you let go of what happened back then? Taoist Master Long Quan shook his head helplessly when he saw the person who had come. Granny Lotus smirked coldly. I'll only let it go when you're dead. As long as you're alive, I won't be able to let it go. Taoist Master Long Quan was speechless. Taoist Master Su glanced at the disciples of Mount Longhu who had come with Taoist Master Long Quan and sighed softly, Old Celestial Master, why are you doing this? He did not expect Taoist Master Long Quan to bring over 1,000 disciples of Mount Longhu. This was no different from cutting off all means of retreat. Taoist Master Long Quan swept the dust away. If Seiji is defeated, it means that our human race will never be able to raise our heads again. Instead of being trampled on, why don't we die to defend our Tao? After more than 200 years, you've finally become a man, Granny Lotus said. Wudong Mountain's Grandmaster, Li Xuanji, sighed and said, Actually, there's no lack of people with secret realms like Grotto Heavens and Blessed Lands. If they can lend China a hand, perhaps, them? They're just a bunch of people who put their lives on the line and believe that it doesn't matter to them. Taoist Master Long Quan seemed to be disdainful. While everyone was talking, they suddenly heard a beast roar coming from afar. Then, an incomparably violent and bloody aura rushed into the sky. It was a person covered in red scales. His eyes were like venomous snakes as he stood in the air and looked down at everyone. What? Mad Southern Yi doesn't dare to come, so he sent you bunch of trash to your deaths? His voice was like rolling thunder that exploded within a radius of 3,000 meters, causing the expressions of many people to change. Those with weaker cultivation even bled from their 7 orifices. It's the Golden Snake King of Snake Crown Ridge. Granny Lotus's 2 sabers swept across the sky, overflowing with saber chi. A human powerhouse stepped forward. Golden Snake King, Seiji is a genius of our human race. His methods are heaven-defying, and his divine might is like a prison. How can you insult him as you please? You're courting death. A fierce glint flashed across the Golden Snake King's eyes. He suddenly opened his mouth, and an incomparably scarlet-red shadow cut through the air, directly piercing through that person's body. A broken body fell to the ground. At that moment, the world fell silent. Let this old man fight you. Taoist Master Long Quan let out a long roar before taking a step into the air. He swept through the air with his true origin energy. It's the old celestial master of Mount Longhu. Rumor has it that this person is over 300 years old, and his cultivation has long been profound. If he makes a move, he will definitely be able to deal a blow to the Golden Snake King's spirit. Many people in front of the screen were shocked when they saw this. They widened their eyes and stared intently, as if they were afraid of missing any of the series. Facing Taoist Master Long Quan's powerful suppression, the Golden Snake King smiled disdainfully. His figure suddenly disappeared, and in the next moment, he appeared behind Taoist Master Long Quan. Oh no! Taoist Master Long Quan's heart sank. Just as he was about to dodge, he suddenly felt a pain in his shoulder. Then, his entire arm was forcefully torn off. Bang! Taoist Master Long Quan fell to the ground. Dead silence. Countless people could not believe the scene before their eyes. TSK, is this the powerhouse of your human race? The Golden Snake King retracted his tongue and licked the blood at the corner of his mouth. You humans are destined to become the slaves of our demon race, destined to be suppressed by us for generations to come. Is our human race really so weak in front of the demon race? The netizens who saw this scene through the live broadcast could not help but fly into a rage. Then, their faces were filled with worry. Bastard! Granny Lotus and the rest were so angry that their faces turned ashen. Golden Snake King, don't be too complacent. Our human race's legend, Seiji, has yet to arrive. Otherwise, he would definitely be able to wipe you all out. With just Mad Southern Yi alone? The Golden Snake King laughed sinisterly. If he dares to come, there's no need for the other demon kings to do anything. I, the Golden Snake King, can kill him alone and destroy the legend of your human race. Just as he finished speaking, a faint voice came from the depths of the void. Is that so? Chapter 983. Is that so? Such a short word sounded like a spring breeze to everyone. However, when it landed in the Golden Snake King's ears, it was as if countless thunderbolts were rumbling at the same time. The Golden Snake King let out a muffled groan, and then he suddenly raised his head with a shocked expression. In the originally extremely quiet void, the wind and clouds that were thousands of feet tall danced, then turned into a huge hand that looked like a dragon. It grabbed at him. The huge hand was so huge that it almost spanned a radius of nearly 300 meters. It was like a huge mountain descending from the sky. Oh no! The Golden Snake King's eyelids twitched. Then, his body swayed and turned into a giant python that was over 30 meters long. He shot towards the Tongtian River in the distance with the sound of the wind. However, at the next moment, he suddenly realized that he could not move. It was as if the surrounding space had been sealed by someone. He could only watch as the huge hand that extended from the void got closer and closer to him. No! The Golden Snake King panicked. Ever since he fell asleep, he had been invincible. He had never taken humans seriously and considered himself to be a demon. However, at this moment, he sensed the aura of death. Boom! The giant hand grabbed the Golden Snake King with great accuracy and crushed it into powder. Only the pungent smell of blood filled the air. The huge hand then dissipated. However, the world was deathly silent. Countless people watched this scene dumbfoundedly. The Golden Snake King, a demon king, died just like that? F***CK. Awesome, too fierce. The countless netizens who were paying attention to this scene were so shocked that their eyeballs almost popped out. In this deathly silent atmosphere, an incomparably calm voice was heard. A mere worm dares to look down on us humans? It's Seiji's voice. Taoist Master Long Quan, who was helped up, was shocked when he heard that. A look of ecstasy immediately appeared on his face. Whoosh! The surroundings were in an uproar. Everyone looked around with their eyes wide open. Under everyone's gaze, a rising sun slowly rose in the sky. The rising sun was like a divine phoenix, bathing in monstrous divine flames. No one dared to look at it. The next moment, the rising sun slowly dissipated, replaced by a figure standing alone in the void, his black hair dancing wildly in the wind. He was majestic and proud, handsome like a god. Apart from his eyes that were like heavenly swords, his powerful aura made everyone present want to kneel down. The three silhouettes behind him were equally intimidating. One of them was a young man dressed in white. His silver hair reached his waist and shone brightly. As for the other youth, although he was handsome, the corners of his mouth curled up into an evil smile from time to time, and there was a faint arrogance between his brows. As for the last young man, he wore a purple robe and had a jade-like complexion. He looked like an elegant and handsome young master from ancient times. It's spiritual master Yi, and Luo Tianya Yi Wushuang, and the Patriarch of Hell. At that moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Yi Chen and the other two. Taoist Master Long Quan and the rest were shocked and excited. Meanwhile, the internet was already in an uproar. So handsome, all three of them are handsome. Oh my God, I saw my brother Wushuang. Oh no, I'm going to faint, handsome. I'm going to faint. Meanwhile, the internet was already in an uproar. Greetings, Seiji. Taoist Master Long Quan endured his injuries and clasped his fists at Yi Chen. He could not hide the flush on his face. Greetings, Seiji. After that, Granny Lotus, the powerhouses from Maoshan, Wudong Mountain, the 8 Trigram sect, and so on clasped their fists at Yi Chen. Yi Chen stopped walking and looked down. Eventually, his gaze landed on Taoist Master Long Quan. Where did your injuries come from? I was useless and was injured by the Golden Snake King. However, the Golden Snake King has already been killed by Seiji. Taoist Master Long Quan's heart warmed slightly as he laughed out loud. Seiji, all the cultivation sects in China are here today. We're willing to sacrifice our lives to fight with you. Thank you, everyone. You just need to watch from the sidelines today. Watch how the 4 of us will flatten the Water Dragon Palace. As soon as Yi Chen said that, thunder exploded in the air, as if his words had angered the heavens. Boom, with a loud bang, he took a step forward. His thick black hair fluttered like a waterfall from the 9 heavens, and then he shot his gaze at Tongtian River. Sky-roaming Dragon King and the dozens of Demon Kings hiding under the water, didn't you guys say that you would kill me, Yi Chen, and then massacre China? Yi Chen spoke. A mighty thunderous voice rolled out, causing the surface of Tongtian River to boil. I, Yi Chen, am here today. Come out and accept your death. Rumble. At that moment, dozens of towering pillars of water suddenly rose from the Skyfall River, and then dozens of figures stepped into the air. Ferocious might overflowed into the sky, and demonic aura intimidated one's soul. Black energy connected heaven and earth like huge chimneys. When they saw the dozens of figures clearly, the surrounding people were shocked, and even their scalps went numb. Demon Kings. Dozens of Demon Kings. Almost all the Demon Kings in China were there, including the Pine King, the Banyan King, the Heavenly Wolf King, the Spirit Leopard King, the Mink King, and the Wild Boar King. Every Demon King could cause a huge commotion in the human world, but there were dozens of them gathered at that moment. Mad Southern Yi, I didn't expect you to really dare to come. In front of the Demon Kings, there was a young man in an official robe with 2 horns on his head. The young man took a step forward with a cold gaze. Do you think the 4 of you are a match for over 30 Demon Kings? Your sky-roaming Dragon King? Yi Chen's eyes flickered. Do you think you're worthy of meeting my father? The young man smiled in disdain. Mad Southern Yi, I have to admit that you're quite capable. If you're willing to submit to the Water Dragon Palace and announce your eternal loyalty, perhaps we can spare your life today. You want me to submit? Yi Chen said coldly. You guys are just animals who have cultivated to some extent. What right do you have to make me submit? Hearing the word animal, many Demon Kings were enraged. The Wild Boar King said coldly, kill him and then massacre China. At that moment, a dragon's roar suddenly broke through the surface of the Tongtian River. Subsequently, an explosion occurred along the 3,000-meter wide river. Under the dragon's roar, the air trembled, and the surrounding rocks, earth, and trees all shattered. Everyone felt their ears rumble, and they could not help but take a few steps back. Then, on the surface of the huge river, a pair of mountain-like behemoths broke through the surface of the water. Then, a black dragon covered in dazzling black scales soared into the sky, and its enormous body was gradually exposed to the world. 50 feet. 30 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet. In the end, the black dragon's body expanded to over 600 meters, almost covering the sky above everyone's heads. The clouds were accompanied by violent storms, lightning, and thunder. Chapter 984. It's the sky-roaming Dragon King, Taoist Master Long Quan said in despair. Is this the sky-roaming Dragon King? It's too big. Everyone looked at the black dragon in fear. They felt like their minds had suffered a huge blow, especially the overwhelming dragon might that made them kneel on the ground uncontrollably. Facing this 600-meter-long black dragon, even ordinary people from 5 kilometers away could see it. In an instant, countless people bowed to the black dragon. Oh my God, there really are dragons in this world. This is too terrifying. Facing such an existence, what hope does the human race have? On the other hand, the internet, which was in an uproar earlier, was dead silent. Everyone could not help but feel despair, and their hearts were trembling. At the same time, Yi-Wen and the rest, who had been monitoring the Water Dragon Palace through the satellite, could not help but turn pale. Is this the true face of this old dragon? In the Tiannan military camp, Old Wang looked at the black dragon in the video with a solemn expression and said hoarsely, "This is troublesome." On Tongtian River, as the black dragon rose into the sky, the young man from before was the first to kneel on the ground respectfully. "Greetings, Father." "Greetings, Dragon King." The 30-odd demon kings cupped their fists in unison. The black dragon swayed its dragon whiskers that were like cables. It looked down at Yi Chen with its pitch-black eyes. "Mad Southern Yi, I tried to persuade you before, but you didn't listen. Do you regret it at all?" At this point, he spoke again. "I think that you have good potential. As long as you're willing to be a slave and serve the Water Dragon Palace for 100 years, I can spare your life." Following his words, a demon king jumped out immediately. He looked at Yi Chen gloatingly and said, "Mad Southern Yi, did you hear that? The Lord Dragon King is merciful. He's willing to give you a way out. Kneel now." "That's right. You should know that not everyone is qualified to become the Dragon King's servant," another demon king said in an incomparably flattering manner. The other demon kings spoke one after another. "Dragon King." However, Yi Chen smiled and looked at the black dragon fearlessly. "You're just a dragon. You don't have any true dragon bloodline in you. Are you worthy of being called the Dragon King?" Not to mention that the other party was a black flood dragon. Even if it was a true dragon, he would not be afraid. When he was a celestial emperor, his dragon carriage was pulled by 9 mighty celestial dragons. "You are quite interesting, little flood dragon." Patriarch Yellow Spring seemed to be looking at him with delight. "I'm about to step into the nascent soul stage, and I'm still short of magic treasures. Your flood dragon bones are perfect for me." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expressions changed. Even Taoist Long Quan and the others were no exception. "Kill them and wash China with blood." Many demon kings were enraged. A demon king was the first to attack. A pair of goat horns on his head grew wildly, and he charged toward Yi Chen and the others like a bulldozer. "I'll suppress you *************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************� Before anyone could see his movements clearly, the sky suddenly darkened. Then, the world turned upside down as if everything had turned into nothingness. When everyone's vision recovered, they heard a scream. When they looked again, Yi Chen had torn the goat-horned demon king apart alive. "Oh my God!" The sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air was heard. That was a demon king, but Yi Chen tore it apart in the blink of an eye. How powerful was that? Ha ha ha, great, great! As expected of mad Southern Yi. Kill, kill, kill. Kill all these stars. The internet was in an uproar again. Everyone was shocked by Yi Chen's methods. At that moment, shouts could be heard. The remaining demon kings' expressions changed. For a moment, no one dared to charge forward. Although they had the advantage in numbers, they were ultimately just a small interest group that had gathered temporarily. Is this the demon king? Is this the demon tribe that thinks that they're superior? Yi Chen's expression did not change. He looked around like a peerless god of death. More than 30 demon kings have gathered together, but you're silent out of fear. You don't dare to attack me. How laughable, how laughable! The moment that was said, the expressions of many demon kings turned cold. Attack! A demon king shouted in a low voice, shattering the void. He could not hold it in any more and attacked Yi Chen first. Meanwhile, the 30 demon kings behind him did not hold back anymore. At that moment, more than 30 demon kings attacked at the same time. Their might shook heaven and earth, and the aura that erupted caused the depths of one's soul to tremble. Let's see who kills the most? Yi Wushuang glanced at Luo Tianya and the Patriarch of Hell indifferently. There was a hint of hostility in his eyes. Sure. Luo Tianya laughed out loud. Then, with a flash of his body, he took the initiative to face a demon king that was a pine tree spirit. The Patriarch of Hell was initially disdainful. However, when he saw a demoness king that was dressed in colorful clothes that was transformed from a butterfly, his eyes lit up. Wushuang, Shaoluo, all the female demon kings here belong to the Patriarch. Whoever dares to snatch them from the Patriarch, don't blame the Patriarch for turning hostile. The Patriarch was caught off guard. Then, he charged at the blue butterfly king. Little girl, your opponent is the Patriarch. A great battle ensued. When old Wang, who was far away in Tianan, saw the video, he immediately ordered, "Let them begin. Move. Move. Move." Almost at that moment, the 300-odd people who had already rushed to the east, south, west, and north received the order. In the eastern mountains, Qin Shaotian restrained his aura and led a dozen people into the Demon King's territory in the south of the eastern mountains. Then, he said to the dozen people beside him, "Raise the flag." The dozen or so people each took out a large flag. As they waved the large flag, the surface of the large flag gradually grew larger. In the end, each flag was comparable to a small sports field. "Put away the flag," Qin Shaotian said again. After the dozen people put away all the flags, 3,000 people suddenly appeared in place. The 3,000 people were filled with murderous intent. They all stood with their spears and did not move at all. Behind these people, there were mechas that looked like giant steel beasts. The black hole-like muzzles pointed at the depths of the mutated beast's hinterland. "Fire!" Qin Shaotian suddenly shouted. "Rumble!" As a series of deafening booms rang out, the entire ground seemed to tremble. The cannonballs were all shot into the depths of the exotic beast's belly. "Enemy attack! Enemy attack!" Following that, incomparably shrill screams sounded. The entire southern side of the eastern mountains seemed to have fallen into purgatory on earth. After a demon king in charge of guarding heard the commotion, he immediately flashed out. "What's going on? Oh no, oh no. The human army has charged in." A demon general rushed over in fear. "How is this possible?" The demon king's eyes widened. "Didn't we set up more than 10 defense lines at the foot of the mountain? How did they sneak over?" Rumble. Such scenes appeared one after another in the north, south, east, and west of China. 1,000,000 troops were like divine soldiers descending from the sky, directly stabbing into the mutated beast. When a demon king saw that his subordinates were all dead and injured, his eyes turned bloodshot. He braved the artillery fire fearlessly and wanted to charge into the troop. Rumble, however, at that moment, a thunderous roar suddenly sounded in the air. The demon king collapsed with a loud bang. Even his soul could not escape, and a mushroom cloud rose in the sky. As for the place where the demon king had been, the area within a radius of 1 kilometer had caved in. It was like an underground city. Qin Xiaotian looked at the scene in shock. A few seconds later, he gulped and said, "This heaven-shaking thunder is really terrifying." One shot, just one shot. A demon king was gone. This was the product of the combination of technology and cultivation. Chapter 985. Above the Water Dragon Palace. As the battle erupted, dozens of terrifying auras traversed the heavens and earth. Countless experts prostrated themselves on the ground, not daring to move in the face of the pressure in the sky. Just as everyone was dazzled, an earth-shattering roar of indignation resounded through the void. "No!" The sound reverberated in everyone's ears. In the void, a demon king that had mutated from an old locust tree was split apart by a sword beam. Large amounts of green blood dyed the entire void green. Another demon king had died. Old Scholar Tree King! At this moment, all the other monster kings roared in anger. Some were shocked, some were terrified, but most of them were in disbelief. The old Scholar Tree King's strength was among the top of the many demon kings, but he had been killed by a single sword strike. Yi Wuxuang coughed softly. After stabilizing himself, he stood in the air with his sword in hand. The dark sky made his star-like eyes look extremely dazzling. Slaying a demon king with a single strike. Although he was also injured. But he was smiling happily. That's insane. Is this Yi Wuxuang's combat strength? Hubby is so handsome. Many people on the internet were dumbstruck. They thought that Yi Chen's combat strength was terrifying enough. Never had they thought that Yi Wuxuang's combat strength was just as monstrous. Motherf *Ker, why is this kid so fierce? Old ancestor Yellow Spring was entangled with a demoness monarch. He was shocked when he saw the commotion. Strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth. After Luo Tianya heavily injured a demon king with a palm strike, he could not help but look up at Yi Wuxuang, his eyes filled with battle intent. Damn it! Many demon monarchs roared furiously. The descendant of the Black Flood Dragon, Qing Lin, let out a long roar. "A few of you go deal with that brat. You must tear his corpse into 10,000 pieces." However, Yi Chen remained still. Boom! Just as the attacks from the monster kings landed on him, a strange smile suddenly appeared on his face. "I've suddenly changed my mind. I won't kill you. I'll convert you and make you slaves of the human race." "What did you say?" Qing Lin's expression changed. At that moment, a golden tower shot out from between Yi Chen's brows. It shot into the air, and turned into a giant golden tower that was 30 meters tall. The golden pagoda had a total of 8 sides and 9 floors. On each side, there was a picture of a Buddha. Some of the Buddhas were benevolent and compassionate, while others were like glaring vajras. The 8-divisional pagoda appeared. "What's that?" At this moment, even the black dragon in the sky was shocked. Then, he seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said, "Lin leave quickly." Qing Lin wanted to escape without saying a word. Although he didn't know what the golden pagoda was, he felt an extreme sense of danger. Too late. Yi Chen formed hand seals with both hands. The golden tower in the sky pressed down immediately, suppressing the few demon kings including Qing Lin in the tower. "Let me out." The few demon kings were horrified. They attacked the space in the pagoda frantically. "Mad Southern Yi, let us out if you dare." Yi Chen ignored their curses and chanted the 6-syllable mantra quickly. A ray of purification power shot out from between his brows and enveloped the entire 8-divisional pagoda. "Om Ma and I Pad Me Hum. Om Ma and I Pad Me Hum. Om Ma and I Pad Me Hum." The few demon kings in the pagoda saw that the Buddhas around them seemed to have come back to life. They actually started chanting the 6-syllable mantra in unison. In the end, their ears were filled with the sounds of Buddhas chanting sutras. The few of them revealed pained and struggling expressions. A few seconds later, the expressions on the faces of the 6 demon kings, including Qing Lin, changed from resentment to peace. They were like loyal believers who had converted to Buddhism. Yi Chen formed hand seals again. The 8 divisional pagoda trembled violently, and the 6 demon kings appeared again. Qing Lin, who was the leader, suddenly knelt before Yi Chen. "Thank you for removing my sins, Sage Yi. I've repented. I'm extremely calm at this moment. Only now do I realize that everything in the past is a sin. Now I can only cultivate with Sage Yi to make up for my mistake." The other 5 demon kings were the same. That was the power of the 8 divisional pagoda. It was comparable to a brainwashing technique. The only difference was that the brainwashing technique could only be used on ordinary people. On the other hand, the 8 divisional pagoda used the Buddha's light to forcefully purify people. Even if the other party was your enemy 1 second ago, they could be completely loyal to you in the next second. Not bad. Yi Chen revealed a satisfied expression. Then, he pointed at the other demon kings. "They are as sinful as you guys. Now it's time for you guys to repent." Yes. Qing Lin and the other demon kings nodded immediately. Then, they returned to the demon kings who were still fighting with expressions of enlightenment. The wild boar king sensed that something was wrong with them and asked subconsciously, "Young Master Qing Lin, are you all right?" They had been attacking Yi Wushuang and the other 2 crazily earlier, so they did not see Qing Lin and the rest being purified by Yi Chen. I'm fine. Qing Lin looked calm. "That's good. The 3 of them won't be able to hold on for long. As long as we kill Mad Southern Yi, they will collapse on their own." The Wild Boar King looked at Yi Wushuang and the other 2 who were being held back. Then, he charged at Yi Chen first. "Young Master Qing Lin, help me." However, at the next moment, he suddenly realized that Qing Lin and the rest had restrained him. One of them grabbed his arm, while the other grabbed his thigh, preventing him from moving. "Young Master Qing Lin, Wasp King, what are you guys doing?" The Wild Boar King's heart sank. He still did not know what was happening. "Wild Boar King, put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha." The Wasp King was like a devout Buddha, bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying mankind. "You've been eating people since you were born. Your hands are stained with too many sins. If you don't convert to Buddha now, when will you?" "That's right, Wild Boar King. Don't continue your mistakes. We've already submitted to Sage Yi. You must know that the sea of bitterness is boundless. Repent and you'll be saved." "Wasp King, are you guys crazy?" The Wild Boar King was in disbelief. At that moment, Yi Chen walked over step by step. The Wild Boar King's expression changed as he said hurriedly, "Mad Southern Yi, what did you do to them?" Ma and I pad me hum." Yi Chen could not be bothered to talk to him. He took out the 8 divisional pagoda directly and chanted the 6-syllable mantra to purify him forcefully. "Greetings, Sage Yi. I was really stubborn in the past. Thank you for your guidance. You even used your supernatural power to purify me." The Wild Boar King knelt on the ground as if he had transformed into a devout believer. "From now on, I've truly turned over a new leaf and completely converted." Good. Wild Boar King, you're truly enlightened to be able to turn over a new leaf and comprehend your past sins. Qing Lin and the other demon kings were overjoyed. The other demon kings are still sinking in the sea of sin. We still need to work together to convert them completely. "Yes, I'll do my best." The Wild Boar King nodded and joined forces with Qing Lin and the rest to rush toward the intense battle. Pine King, purify. Blue Butterfly King, purify. Gopher King, purify. Celestial Wolf King, purify. In the end, all the 30-odd demon kings present were purified by Yi Chen without exception. The dozens of demon kings even used their supernatural powers to shave their heads and transform into kasayas. They sat on the ground and knocked on the wooden fish like dozens of monks. Namo Amitba. Form is not different from emptiness, emptiness is not different from form. Dead silence, the world was dead silent. Countless people revealed expressions as if they had seen a ghost. They did not expect the scene to turn out like this. Yi Chen subdued all the demon kings without any bloodshed? Oh my God! The patriarch of Hell's heart was in turmoil. How can fellow Ye's 8-divisional pagoda be so heaven-defying? If he does the same to old ancestor. Thinking to this point, he immediately shuddered, but he did not dare to continue thinking. However, the internet was silent. A few seconds later, someone wrote, "Could it be that mad Southern Yi has been involved in multi-level marketing before?" The black dragon in the sky stared blankly at the dozens of monks on the ground. ****, what did you do to my son and them? Benefactor Yu Tian. Qing Lin raised his bald head and looked at the black dragon. He pressed his palms together and said, "Don't commit any more sins, Lin or Yu." The black dragon could not believe its eyes. "Shut up," Qing Lin said righteously. "I've already become a monk. I'm no longer your father and son, and I don't have a sinful father like you." Blech. The black dragon was so angry that it swallowed 2 mouthfuls of blood. Its claws were like 2 towering trees as it grabbed at Yi Chen. "Mad Southern Yi, I want you dead." P.S. Chapter 4 will continue tomorrow. Thank you for your support. Chapter 986. Mad Southern Yi, I want you dead. As the voice that was filled with endless rage fell, sky-roaming Dragon King could not help but attack in the end. In the beginning, he thought that Yi Chen and the other three's combat strength were at most quasi-saints. Meanwhile, they had dozens of demon kings with combat strength comparable to quasi-saint. There was no need for him to do anything with such a huge difference in strength. However, the outcome shocked him greatly. Yi Chen relied on a golden pagoda to purify dozens of demon kings. Even his son, Qing Lin, was no exception. Rumble! The black dragon waved a pair of enormous dragon claws at Yi Chen, shattering the void. It was like the huge mouth of a primordial ferocious beast that could devour heaven and earth. It wanted to annihilate Yi Chen. As he made his move, his 600-meter-tall body swayed slightly and forcefully crushed a mountain peak. Too powerful! The expressions of Taoist Master Long Quan and the rest, who were paying attention to the battle, changed drastically when they saw this. They noticed to their astonishment that they were actually unable to arouse the slightest desire to resist such might. The black dragon, Qing Lin, who had been converted by Yi Chen, advised immediately, "Patron Sky Roaming, don't continue making mistakes. Namo Amitba. Patron Sky Roaming, the sea of bitterness is boundless. Repent and you will be saved. Quickly surrender to fellow Yi. He's a human paragon with great luck. Only by following him can you obtain eternal life." The dozens of demon kings led by Qing Lin soared into the sky and charged at the claw that was about to tear the sky and earth apart. Although that was what they said, the dozens of demon kings did not show any mercy. They all used their trump cards to attack sky-roaming Dragon King crazily. The most exaggerated one was none other than sky-roaming Dragon King's son, Qing Lin. He leaped onto the black dragon's back and violently attacked his scales. Get lost. Being attacked by so many demon kings, even sky-roaming Dragon King could not take it. After letting out a muffled grunt, he swung his huge body forcefully and sent dozens of demon kings flying. They must have been controlled by your evil spell. As long as I kill you, my son will recover. The sky-roaming Dragon King swung his sharp claws at Yi Chen again. The killing intent in his eyes caused the temperature in heaven and earth to cool down. At this moment, everyone's hearts were in their throats. After all, this was a battle between the strongest of the human race and the beast race, and the outcome represented the rise and fall of the two races in the future. Good timing! Yi Chen let out a long howl. Just when the black dragon's sharp claws were about to land on him, he shot out like an arrow that left the bow. With a long roar, the rivers trembled and the mountains and valleys rumbled. The entire world moved with him, and only he alone reigned supreme. That was Yi Chen's spirit. This was the embodiment of invincibility. Boom! The black dragon's sharp claws landed on the place where Yi Chen was standing earlier. The mountain peak was crushed by the claw forcefully. Countless rocks and soil were sent flying, and there was an endless rumble. "What's that?" someone exclaimed. Subsequently, everyone saw Yi Chen, who had shot into the air, leap onto the black dragon's back. Bang! Yi Chen's attack was simple and direct. A golden fist energy shot across the sky and charged at the black dragon's body. Divine punch made in 33 days. Shaking hammer. Boom! Violent waves swept through the sky, destroying everything in its path. Roar, roar, roar! With the punch, dazzling sparks flew on the black dragon's back, as if it had struck metal. Even so, the black dragon was still in pain. It swayed its body crazily, as if it wanted to shake Yi Chen off its body. Shaking hammer. Yi Chen stepped down like a towering mountain. Divine punch made in 33 days, heaven-toppling seal. 1 to subdue the sky, 2 to turn into the sea. Scales immediately flew off the black dragon's back. "Are you going to surrender or not?" Yi Chen's voice was like thunder. The black dragon screamed continuously. At the same time, it twisted its huge body crazily. "You want me to surrender? You're not qualified." Rumble, burning palm. Dragon capturing claw. Star picking hand. Yi Chen attacked again. It was as if he was going to destroy heaven and earth with every move he made. Surging and terrifying power spread out crazily with him as the center. His hair that looked like a demon fluttered in the wind. In the distance, everyone's eyes were almost lifeless. They looked at the slightly weak body in disbelief, causing the huge black dragon to roar repeatedly. However, the internet was silent. Everyone stared at the might of the battle with their mouths agape. It could be said that the sky and earth were collapsing. The mountains and rivers were shaking, and all sorts of strange phenomena appeared. Roar. The black dragon's skin and flesh were torn apart. It was completely enraged. After a furious roar, it actually controlled its huge body to collide with an incomparably huge mountain in the distance. Rumble, under everyone's shocked gazes, the mountain peak was forcefully shattered, and countless rocks flew everywhere. What's the outcome? Everyone widened their eyes as they searched for traces of Yi Chen and the black dragon. Their hearts were in their throat. Roar with a furious roar, a huge body shot out from the smoke and dust. It almost covered the sky and earth, and its ferocious might was monstrous. However, when the smoke and dust dispersed, there was no trace of Yi Chen at the scene. It seemed like he had died in the explosion. Mad Southern Yi is dead? At that moment, countless people's eyes almost popped out of their socket. Even the patriarch of Hell's expression gradually darkened. "Sage Yi!" Taoist Master Long Quan roared repeatedly. "Ha ha ha!" The black dragon laughed maniacally. "Mad Southern Yi, you're overestimating yourself by competing with me in terms of physical strength." After saying that, he cast his gaze at Taoist Master Long Quan and the rest in the distance. He did not hide his killing intent at all. "They're dead. Now it's your turn? Fight." Taoist Master Long Quan's eyes were bloodshot. He took a step into the air and laughed maniacally. "Fight, fight to your heart's content. Even if we die today, we'll let you know that the human race will never be afraid of battle. Kill." Granny Lotus took a step forward with 2 sabers in her hands and stood side by side with Taoist Master Long Quan. "Long Quan, if we die, perhaps we can be buried together." "Ha ha, alright." Taoist Master Long Quan's laughter shook the sky. "Fight, fight, fight." At that moment, the powerhouses from Maoshan, Wudong Mountain, and the other traditional Chinese sects all soared into the sky, their eyes filled with determination. Someone laughed out loud. "Young men of China, open your eyes and watch carefully. The human race and the demon race are irreconcilable. We'd rather die than live in dishonor. Fight, fight, fight. Kill, kill, kill! At that moment, countless people who saw this scene through the live broadcast shed tears. They all felt an extreme sense of sorrow surge into their hearts. The black dragon watched this scene with disdain. Even mad Southern Yi can't kill me. Do you think you can? Who said I can't kill you? At that moment, an extremely calm voice came from the pile of rubble in the distance. Chapter 987. His voice was neither loud nor soft, but every single word was clearly heard by everyone. The black dragon's disdainful laughter stopped abruptly. Taoist Master Long Quan was stunned at first, then he suddenly turned his head to look at the pile of rocks in the distance. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Someone thought that he was hallucinating and stammered, "Seiji, I isn't dead?" Bang! As if in response to his words, the huge pile of rubble suddenly exploded, and a celestial being slowly walked out from the storm. He was dressed in golden armor, and his eyes were like bright suns. There were 2 small suns jumping in them, and the pressure around him swept out for thousands of meters. The ground where the Water Dragon Palace was located actually sank more than 3 meters deep. It was as if the world was being suppressed by him alone. It's mad Southern Yi. He's not dead. The internet was in an uproar once again. Countless people shed tears of excitement. Seiji, Taoist Master Long Quan and the rest were extremely excited. How are you? Fine. The black dragon looked like he had seen a ghost. One must know that he had taken the risk of being seriously injured to smash a mountain with Yi Chen on his back. My methods are beyond your imagination. Killing intent flashed through Yi Chen's eyes. He then charged at the black dragon. The black dragon's expression changed drastically as he retreated. However, in the next moment, his entire body was instantly frozen in place, because a pair of giant hands had forcefully grabbed his tail. Yi Chen let out a long roar and exerted force with his arms. A large amount of black blood rained down and tore off the black dragon's tail violently. Black blood was like a rain of blood as it splattered on the ground. It was extremely hot, and a few large holes appeared on the ground. Shocking. There was only shock in everyone's eyes. Yi Chen actually tore the black dragon's tail apart with his physical strength. One had to know that the black dragon's tail was extremely hard. Roar. The black dragon let out an incomparably shrill scream. Then, ignoring the pain of its tail being severed, it actually plunged into the Water Dragon Palace at the bottom of the Tongtian River. Only the black river water proved that it was truly scared out of its wit. At this moment, the world was completely silent. Everyone cried out in shock as they stared at the godlike figure in the sky. Subduing the demons and injuring the Dragon King. Before this, no one could have imagined such a scene. This scene was also clearly shown to everyone in the country through satellites, cameras, and mobile phones. F***CK Bull Nose. Oh my god, he actually tore that dragon's tail off with his bare hands. Is this mad Southern Ye's combat power? At this moment, whether it was on Tieba or various live-streaming software, everyone went crazy. Countless bullet comments flooded the screen. That's so satisfying, really satisfying. Wasn't that old dragon quite arrogant before? Now you're scared too. Mad Southern Yi, continue. Don't let this old dragon go. We must let him know how powerful the Chinese humans are. Give birth to Mad Southern Yi and marry your daughter to Mad Southern Yi. Many people roared with laughter. They felt that they had finally vented their resentment, and they felt extremely carefree in their hearts. In the Water Dragon Palace, after Taoist Long Quan recovered from his excitement, he stepped forward and said, "Taoist Master Yi, that black flood dragon is hiding underwater. What should we do now? What else can we do? Of course, we should beat the drowning dog and drag it out of the water," someone suggested. No. Taoist Long Quan hurriedly objected. You guys might not know this, but ever since the spiritual energy recovered and this black flood dragon entered the world, it has occupied the upper reaches of the Tongtian River, causing the upper and lower reaches to be blocked. At this point, he added, that's not all. This old dragon seems to have poisoned the water. Anyone who isn't from the Sea Clan or a human will instantly turn into a pool of blood. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed, especially those who planned to jump into the river. Their faces turned ashen. Liang from the Dragon King Palace also walked over and said, "The Dragon King Palace has sent people down before, but they never returned. Most importantly, we humans are like water. We can't unleash our full combat power in the water." Yi Chen interrupted everyone's argument. He leaped to the side of the Tongtian River and said while smiling lightly, "Old Loach, I'll give you a chance. If you kneel and submit now, I might spare your life." "Don't even think about it." The black flood dragon's furious roar could be vaguely heard from the water. "Come down if you can. Moreover, don't be too smug. Although you've subdued many demon kings, the million beasts are still here. I swear that I'll massacre China." "Massacre China?" Yi Chen smirked coldly. "I'm not afraid to tell you that I've already deployed 1,000,000 troops to your beast lair before I came. I'm afraid the so-called million beasts you mentioned have been destroyed." "What a joke!" The black flood dragon sneered. "Mad Southern Yi, do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Once the 1,000,000-strong army moves, they will definitely be exposed. How can the 1,000,000-strong army not be on guard? I've said everything I can to you. Since you still don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being rude." Yi Chen's expression turned cold gradually. "Do you really think I can't do anything to you? Use whatever tricks you have." The black flood dragon mocked. Yi Chen did not say anything else. He took a step forward and arrived above the water dragon palace directly. He then looked down at the water, and there were 2 balls of golden flames dancing in his eyes. "I can burn the heavens with a single glance." As soon as he said that, 2 balls of sparks shot out from his eyes and landed on the Tongtian River. Compared to the huge Tongtian River, the 2 balls of sparks were like 2 unextinguished cigarette butts. However, as soon as they landed on the water, it was as if they had encountered gasoline. Boom! At that moment, the river water suddenly burned. The fire soared into the sky, and in the end, it grew larger and larger until it completely ignited the entire Tongtian River. This, everyone's eyes instantly glazed over. Meanwhile, the internet was dead silent. The scene before them was too shocking. One had to know that it was a river. According to common sense, how could a river burn? However, the truth was right before their eyes. They had no choice but to believe it. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Not long after, the water in the entire Tongtian River began to boil. Screams could be heard coming from the bottom of the water, and then corpses floated to the surface of the water. Among them, there were lobsters the size of cars and turtles the size of airplanes. However, all of them were floating on the surface of the water with their stomachs turned upside down. Their bodies were gradually cooked. "It smells so good." Someone could not help but gulp. Countless netizens who saw this through the live broadcast fell silent. Someone asked weakly, "Is this a large-scale seafood barbecue? Can I come over to eat and drink? Bring your own bowls and chopsticks. Bring pepper, chili powder, sesame oil, and other condiments." Immediately after, the black flood dragon's scream was heard. "What is this? Mad Southern Yi, what did you do to us?" Chapter 988. Old Loach. Yi Chen stood in the air. His eyes were as cold as knives. "If you don't come out, I'll destroy the entire Tongtian River today, and kill your descendants." "I won't come out." The black dragon had made up its mind and refused to come out. "Very good." Yi Chen grinned. Subsequently, he lifted his hand and slapped the sky. Several purple 5 thunder talismans shot into the sky as he shouted like thunder, "Lightning!" At the next moment, the weather changed and the sky shook. Under everyone's dumbfounded expressions, the clear sky was suddenly covered by endless dark clouds. Rumble! 10,000 bolts of lightning descended from the dark clouds and landed directly on the Tongtian River. In the end, the entire Tongtian River seemed to have turned into a sea of lightning. On the other hand, Yi Chun stood with his hands behind his back. He was bathed in the lightning and did not move. He was like the god of thunder who was in charge of punishing on behalf of the heavens. Divine might, this is true divine might. At that moment, countless people bowed to Yi Chen as if he was a real god. Bang! At that moment, a black shadow suddenly shot out from the river. The black shadow was extremely huge. After it rushed out of the water, it headed south. Who else could it be but the black dragon? However, he was in an extremely miserable state at that moment. Not only was his skin torn and flesh torn, but his body even gave off a burnt smell. Mad Southern Yi, I'm not done with you, the black dragon roared repeatedly. Although his tone was extremely tough, he did not dare to stop at all. He flew south with all his might, traversing thousands of meters in the blink of an eye. Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief when they saw that. Sky-roaming Dragon King ran away? Oh no. Li Ying from the Dragon King Palace seemed to have thought of something, and her expression changed. Palace Master, this dragon is trying to escape to the Southern Sea. We can't let him enter the sea. Why? Yi Chen said. Palace Master, you might not know this, but there are many more creatures in the sea than on land. After the spiritual energy recovery, countless ferocious overlords were born in the sea. There are 3 that are comparable to that black dragon. Li Ying quickly said, those 2 are the Killer Whale King, the Sea Dragon King, and the White Shark King. Once the black dragon escapes into the sea, it will definitely obtain their protection. By then, Blue Dragon King? Someone's expression changed. Is it the Mosasaurus that lived in the Middle and Late Cretaceous period? Aren't they extinct? No, one of them survived. Li Ying's pretty face turned pale as she said, furthermore, it has become one of the 3 great overlords of the ocean. Even when the various countries used nuclear bombs, they were unable to destroy it. Daoist Longquan sucked in a breath of cold air and said, if that's really the case, then we really can't let that black flood dragon enter the sea. Otherwise, it will definitely become a great calamity for the human race in the future. I'll report this to the higher-ups right now. Tell them to stop the black flood dragon at all costs, Li Ying said before quickly leaving. No matter where he runs, he won't be able to escape death. Yi Chen's eyes were sharp. He opened his mouth and spat. A purple sword gleam landed in the air. It was the true martial thousand lightning sword. Go. He glanced at the Patriarch of Hell, Yi Wushuang, and the rest. The 3 of them immediately landed on the true martial thousand lightning sword. Boom! Under everyone's gaze, the true martial thousand lightning sword carried Yi Chen and the other 3 and turned into a bolt of lightning that chased after the black dragon. Within Qinghai Province, a colossus that was close to 500 meters in size was boiling rapidly in the air. From time to time, it would let out a scream. Countless citizens raised their heads to look at the scene in the sky, their eyes filled with disbelief. Oh my God, what kind of monster is that? A dragon? No, he's the black flood dragon from the water faucet. I saw through the live stream that he was defeated by Mad Southern Yi. He's trying to escape. Countless citizens were discussing. On the other hand, warships were already in position above the Minnan Sea. Countless people in uniforms stared nervously at the black flood dragon on the big screen. At this moment, an old man in a traditional Chinese suit boarded the ship. Everyone made way for him. Old Wang. How's the situation? Old Wang said in a deep voice. Someone stood up and said, the situation isn't good. We've already locked onto the black flood dragon's trajectory. It looks like he really wants to escape to the sea. Can't we stop him? Old Wang frowned. It's very difficult. The person from before smiled bitterly. This black flood dragon is extremely cunning. He knows that we will use nuclear bombs to deal with him, so he has been flying at a low altitude. If we use nuclear bombs and intercontinental missiles, I'm afraid the ground will be affected. Also, Heavenly King Yi has been following this black flood dragon closely. Another person said, the two of them are less than 3,000 meters apart. We can't use missiles, or we might accidentally injure Heavenly King Yi. In fact, even he knew that even if he used missiles, he might not be able to cause any damage to the black flood dragon. No, Heavenly King Yi is purposely slowing down. If we chase after him, this is a human city in China. Once we fight, it will definitely affect too many people. Old Wang fell silent. He stared at the big screen for a few seconds before saying, "We can only rely on Heavenly King Yi now." Everyone's eyes focused. That's right. They could only place their hopes on Mad Southern Yi now. Although the Black Flood Dragon was severely injured, if he successfully escaped to the sea and obtained the protection of the three overlords, the power of the seafolk would increase exponentially and pose a greater threat to the Chinese sea. At the same time, the entire China was shaken. Information about the Water Dragon Palace's battle spread to various places. Mad Southern Yi suppressed dozens of demon kings, and even used a great divinity to boil the entire Tongtian River. He summoned lightning and forced sky-roaming Dragon King to flee with serious injuries. The news shook the earth. Many people were excited. Mad Southern Yi is indeed the #1 person in China. After this battle, the beasts will have no hope. Let's see if they still dare to invade human cities in the future. Countless people were discussing it. However, at the next moment, another piece of shocking news came. The Black Flood Dragon is going to run to the sea. Mad Southern Yi has turned into a sword immortal and is chasing after it. What? The Black Flood Dragon is going to escape to the sea? How can that be? The beasts in the sea have always been a huge threat to China. With the addition of the Black Flood Dragon, their strength will definitely increase greatly. Many people were worried. Even so, there were still people who believed in Yichen. I believe that Mad Southern Yi will definitely kill it. An hour later, along the coast of Minnan, the Black Flood Dragon, which was over 500 meters long, crossed more than 2,000 kilometers and finally arrived at the sea. He glanced at the sword gleam that was chasing closely behind him and could not help but sneer. Mad Southern Yi, it's too late, too late. Actually, you had the chance to make me stay along the way, but you didn't. You were afraid that I would lure you to a place with a lot of people. At this point, the Black Flood Dragon seemed to be disdainful. This is the difference between you and me. You're a human, and I'm a demon. Based on this alone, how can you be my match? Rumble, at this moment, a loud sound came from a warship on the sea. A loud noise suddenly came from a warship on the sea, and a missile wrapped in monstrous flames shot toward him. Elder Wang had made his move. Chapter 989. We must kill it. Old Wang looked at the big screen nervously, and one of his hands unconsciously clenched together. The people behind him were also extremely nervous. However, to their disappointment, when the missile was about to approach the Black Dragon suddenly opened its mouth and swallowed it. At the next moment, the Black Dragon opened its mouth again, and the missile shot back. It was even faster than before. Oh no! Old Wang immediately said, "Stop it, stop it." Beep, beep, beep. As the alarm sounded, a technician panicked and said, "Oh no, we've been attacked by an unknown magnetic field. The interception system is paralyzed." What? The expressions of Old Wang and the rest changed drastically. If the interception system failed, wouldn't that mean that their location was completely exposed to the missile's range? The missile was getting closer and closer. Seeing that it was about to land on the warship, everyone could not help but feel despair. At the next moment, a sword gleam streaked across the sky. Its speed was several times faster than the missile. A golden figure took a step forward and grabbed the missile out of thin air. Then, he threw it 10,000 kilometers into the sky. Rumble, a huge mushroom cloud appeared in the sky. It's Heavenly King Yi. Everyone on the warship could not help but heave a sigh of relief. They were lucky that they had almost died. Yi Chen lowered his head and glanced at Old Wang and the rest. He then looked at the black dragon coldly. "Old Loach, you're really good at running." The black dragon did not mind. Instead, it smiled strangely. "Mad Southern Yi, you've already missed the chance to kill me." As soon as he finished speaking, endless fog suddenly surged out from the vast sea. When the fog dissipated, giant beasts suddenly appeared on the surface of the sea. These giant beasts were as strong as mountains, and they were of all shapes and sizes. Some had long fangs, while others were covered in bone armor. As far as the eye could see, there was no end to it. It was as if there was no end to it. Behind these giant beasts, there was an orderly army of sea beasts. These people had beast heads and human bodies. They held weapons in their hands, and banners fluttered in the wind. They were filled with endless killing intent. "It's the Sea Tribe." Old Wang and the rest were shocked. They had fought many battles with the sea beasts, so they were very familiar with these opponents. Right at this moment, a crimson-robed old man suddenly stepped out from the sea beast army that stretched as far as the eye could see. He said from afar, "Sky-roaming Dragon King, we've come to assist you on the Killer Whale King's orders." Hearing this, Elder Wang and the others were enraged. Someone stepped onto the deck and shouted sternly, "Green Robe, the Black Flood Dragon is the enemy of the human clan. Are you trying to start a war with the human clan by coming to save him?" "War?" The green-robed old man laughed and seemed to be disdainful. "Your human race and my sea race have fought many times. When have you ever had the upper hand? You." That person was at a loss for words. The green-robed old man's gaze finally landed on Yi Chen. "You're Mad Southern Yi, right? We don't care if you dominate the continent. However, this is the sea region, our world. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram." Black Dragon Sea Beast Army, the Sea Beasts, Sea Dragon, the sea. Yi, don't worry. I'll never forget the pain you brought me. The Black Dragon laughed out loud. "When I recover, I'll definitely kill a few more humans to thank you." The Black Dragon was resentful. "When I recover, I'll definitely kill a few more humans to thank you. How dare you talk when you're about to die?" Yi Chen's eyes were cold as he enunciated word by word. "I told you, none of you will leave today." "Ah!" The Black Dragon and the green-robed old man laughed out loud. "You? Do you know that there are 100,000 sea beasts behind me? Even a spit from one of them can drown you." "Is that so?" Yi Chen gave a short response. Subsequently, Emperor Brush appeared in his hand. He held it in his hand and drew in the air. Boom! Purple energy rose faintly in the sky. It was like a giant dragon that was spiraling in the sky. It shrouded Yi Chen with supreme majesty. It was purple energy from the east. Under the purple energy, the aura on Yi Chen's body rose steadily. He was like a supreme king, or an iron-faced judge who could kill people with a wave of his brush. When Yi Chen picked up his brush, a thundercloud diagram with a radius of 3 meters soared into the sky. It flew high into the sky and hid in the clouds. At the next moment, under everyone's shocked gazes, the sky was suddenly filled with thunderclouds. The thunderclouds almost covered an area of 3,000 meters around the sea. Following a series of cracking sounds, tens of thousands of bolts of lightning descended from the sky. At that moment, the expressions of the green-robed old man, including the Black Dragon, changed. "Oh no, retreat!" However, it was too late in the end, and the dense bolts of lightning descended upon the army of oceanic beasts that stretched as far as the eye could see. Rumble, rumble, rumble! At that moment, the world was filled with lightning that shook heaven and earth. Countless sea beasts died on the spot after being struck by the lightning. In just a few breaths of time, more than 10,000 sea beasts had died under the lightning. The remaining tens of thousands of sea beasts fell into a panic and fled in all directions. Old Wang and the rest were completely stunned. Even the Patriarch of Hell revealed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. damn it, this is too heaven-defying. Even though he was a tribulation stage cultivator in his previous life, he had never seen a nascent soul cultivator perform such a monstrous technique. Yi Chen's expression remained the same. He held the emperor brush in his hand and wrote an extremely short word. There were only 3 strokes. Mountain. When the brush fell, the weather changed and the mountains and rivers moved. Under the dumbfounded expressions of old Wang and the rest, countless mountains swept over from the horizon. In the end, they formed a defensive formation. The huge mountains stretched across the sky, captivating one's soul. Rumble, countless mountains fell and crashed down violently towards the sea beasts on the surface of the sea. Ah! The sea within a radius of 3,000 meters was almost filled by mountains. Countless sea beasts were crushed to death on the spot. This scene completely destroyed the courage of the black dragon and the green-robed old man. The 2 of them flew towards the depths of the sea without saying a word. Countless Chinese powerhouses who noticed this scene were shocked. They would never forget this scene even if they died. An old man's lips trembled as he said, "Entering the Tao through painting, this is entering the Tao through painting. I didn't expect Seiji to have reached such a level. One person is comparable to 1,000,000 heroes. The other person's face was flushed. Mad Southern Yi in China is comparable to 1,000,000 heroes." Yi Chen moved with him. He charged into the depths of the sea with the true martial thousand lightning sword in his hand. "Today, I'm going to flatten 30,000 kilometers of China's sea."